text alerts. Complete details on how to get them at 953mnc.com. Your breaking news and weather station. Powered by Kramer Interiors. Elegance and style. Elevate your home with brands like Stanley, Hancock, or Alexander, and Hickory Wright. You're invited to their home. See Kramer Interiors on University Drive in Ranger.
Winter is the worst for your vehicle. While you're warm and toasty driving down the road, the salt, sludge, and snow.
What's up, everybody?
Building up ice blocks in your wheel well.
Hello.
Don't make winter any worse than it is. Make regular visits to one of the finest exterior auto washes in Parkwood Auto Spa. Located in South Bend, just east of Ironwood on Ireland Road, and Mishawaka off Edison Road. Open 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. 7 days a week. And this winter season,
We got to do the clocks on Saturday. Is that this Saturday?
car wash packages starting at just $15.95. Visit one of their locations. Go to ParkwoodAutoSpa.com for more details. Download the new app. New and exciting things coming throughout the year.
I'm pooped.
Sunday, which had to begin.
So Saturday night you do it, yeah.
Starting at just $15.95. Go to both of their locations in South Bend and Mishawaka. See ParkwoodAutoSpa.com for more details. Parkwood Auto Spa. Come as you are. See as you are. Hi, I'm Jake.
I've had a busy week.
America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon. So if
Huh?
a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get
It's hitting me finally.
with our
I'm good like half of the day.
approval. The low rate lock today is protected.
And then the second half of the day, I'm just gone. It's done.
If rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. You win. Talk to us today. So go to rocketmortgage.com and take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800.
Well, I mean, the good news is I actually get to get home when it's light outside. I do like how it's kind of light outside right now. But when we spring forward, then I get that extra light, which means I get to be more productive. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. Tactical Training Systems is holding a basic pistol class on Sunday, March 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. at Second Amendment Arms and Range. Contact Paul to reserve your spot. It's $125 for each student. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and open this up with a phone call topic, if you will. Should we lower the voting age to 16? Joe says no. 574-2595-95.3. That's 2595953. So give us a call. Let us know if we should lower the voting age to 16. This has obviously been floating around as a topic for a couple of years now, and it has just been introduced as an amendment to House Resolution H.R. 1, which we will talk about also today. This week, far-left freshman Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat of Massachusetts, introduced an amendment to House Resolution H.R. 1 that would allow a 16-year-old to vote in federal elections in 2020. It's no secret that the younger voters without the attendant responsibilities contingent on reaching adulthood tend to swing far more to the political left than older voters, so the move is a transparent and cynical attempt to gain more votes for the Democratic Party. But Pressley tried to pass it off as germinating from her concern for younger voters. All right. Interesting. Hey, 16-year-olds live in the country, too. They should have a say. All right, cool. Why not 15-year-olds? Why not 14-year-olds? Why not 13? I mean, we can play this game, I guess. But hey, 16-year-olds, that's where we're at. 574-2595-95.3. So here's what she had to say about her resolution. Our young people are at the forefront of some of the most existential crises facing our communities and our society at large. I believe that those who will inherit the nation we design here in Congress by virtue of our policies and authority should have a say in who represents them. Okay. I go back to my previous point. Why not 15-year-olds? Why not 14-year-olds? Why not 13-year-olds? They're all in the same boat. Every single one of them is going to inherit the nation. Every single one of them is going to have to deal with the policies of people like you lay down, including future 16-year-olds voting. Okay? She added, the time has come. Our young people deserve to have the opportunity to have their right to vote. They don't have a right to vote at 16. We celebrate them often and lift them up as foot soldiers of movements. No, we don't. We thank them for their sweat equity, and they expend at the forefront of change, and they should have the opportunity to be respected and celebrated as ballot casters. Okay. I have a lot of things that I could say about it. You've heard me say things about this in the past, but it's not about me today. It is about you, mostly because I'm tired. 574-25-95-95-3. Should we lower the voting age to 16? Why or why not? David, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Casey, I would say no to that, because if you can't serve your country, you can't vote.
Okay. Well, maybe we should start adding 16-year-olds to the draft then. Make them register.
I mean, an 18-year-old barely has the ability to.
That's true, but 16-year-olds are generally smaller and are harder targets. So.
Well, yeah, true.
You know, we got these new composite weaponry and stuff like that. And, you know, the systems are getting lighter and lighter and lighter. We could have whole brigades of 16-year-olds.
Yeah, I don't think it should.
They could be led by 18-year-olds. And, you know, we could send them in first. That's
correct. They could clean up afterwards.
All right, so you're a no?
I'm a no, sir.
Only because of that, or is there another reason?
Well, they're just not mature enough.
Not mature enough. All right. Okay, David, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Not sure what 16-year-olds did to David to make him hate him. Paula, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Casey. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. What's on your mind?
Well, I have to agree with the first caller.
You hate 16-year-olds also. Okay.
Yeah, I don't hate 16-year-olds. I love them. The only thing is they don't have enough lifetime experiences to be able to vote.
Well, there's a lot of people in their 30s that don't have enough lifetime experience to be able to vote, to be honest with you.
This is true, but, you know, most 30-year-olds have been out there long enough and would have an idea of what's going on in the world. But 16-year-olds,
they're stupid.
Most of them, they can't even drive yet.
Ah, okay. Well, old people can't drive, so they shouldn't be able to vote either? I'm just trying to throw everything at you that they're going to throw at people. I mean, I might as well play the devil's advocate, right?
Right. You know, but you know what? Old people they can vote early or vote by absentee ballot.
Okay, so 16-year-olds can vote by absentee ballot.
They could. They just don't know enough.
Okay, they're stupid. Got it.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Paula, thank you so much. She's playing along. 574-25-95-95-3. Pim, welcome to the program.
How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing well, man. What's up?
Well, I've got an opinion on this. I don't think 16-year-olds should be allowed to vote for the simple fact that they're still, most of them in high school, and they're still under the indoctrination of their teachers. And I think that they haven't been out and about and been able to gather a little bit of information of what the real world is like.
So we should raise the voting age to 22?
I would say yes, but, you know, I know that's not going to happen. But, you know, it's like, you know, even the kids in college are so indoctrinated by their professors and, you know, they're opinionated this way, and that's kind of what they're shoving down these kids' throat, and they haven't had a chance to get out and learn yet.
Okay. All right, man. Fair enough. Appreciate it. Thank you much. All right. 16-year-olds don't have enough life experience, but couldn't you say the same thing about 18-year-olds, too? Jeff, welcome to the program. Hello. Yeah.
This Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I say 25.
25. Now, why is that?
25. They can't pay for their insurance for themselves. They shouldn't be able to vote.
They can be on the parents' insurance until they're 25.
Yeah.
Can't rent a car until you're 25, right?
Can't what?
You can't rent a car until you're 25, right?
I like to rent a car at younger ages, but you should be able to be an adult and pay for your own insurance. When I was 18, I was on my own.
Okay. All right. So what if you are 18 though, or 16, and you are paying for your own insurance?
If you're all on your own, and when you're 16,
yeah,
okay,
maybe you're emancipated, maybe you're not, maybe you don't like your parents' insurance plan and you're proactive.
Don't see that happen very often.
Yeah, I don't either. But all right, I appreciate it, bud. Thank you much. Joe is saying that he knows a lot of 18-year-olds who pay for their own insurance. What do we have here? Jim, welcome to the program.
How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. What's up? Do you hate 16-year-olds too?
Well, I think instead of age, I think we ought to have a test like you have to get training for the Second Amendment, which is a right. If your voting's a right, I just prefer educated people voting, no matter what their age is.
Interesting. Okay, so how can we apply this? Okay, because the Second Amendment you can own, you just can't carry in many states without having the extra schooling. So we've got to give them something, right? We've got to let them do something.
Yeah, but I think it'd be great to have a good political class in school, and if somebody does extraordinary in it, I mean, you kind of take a test for citizenship, and you have to get training to get concealed weapons and let you carry that around, which is a right. I think voting should be an educated decision, and apparently a lot of people aren't that vote.
That is true. That is very, very true. All right, Jim, I appreciate it. Thank you much. I mean, maybe we could have them own a firearm for a couple of years, and if they don't shoot anybody in the face, then they can vote because they'll show they're responsible. I don't know. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. Okay, she says it's high time the 16-year-olds had a say because they're going to inherit the earth or something like that. But again, then why not 15-year-olds? Why not 14-year-olds? Why not 13-year-olds? And it's kind of interesting to see this argument. So I'm taking your phone calls on this. Should we lower the voting age to 16? This has actually been introduced as an amendment to H.R. 1. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3.
With the voting age topic.
Your breaking news weather station.
All right, can I get your first name?
Weather served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 5 years of exception.
Say that again.
Tremendous service and great people. Visit
Jonah.
Prime Table today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
All right, I'll try to get you on that.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5 minutes.
Thermodyne coming out of the right, please.
Temperatures even warming up to 32 degrees.
Dine Thermos. Did you see that they finally got into that cryptocurrency thing where that dude died and all the money had been spent? $137 million. It was gone.
Got a rain showers these start to move in late afternoon. Could even center a couple rumbles of thunder as we get through Saturday night with some windy conditions expected and could see a couple periods of heavier rain. That changes over to mix for Sunday as temperatures start to fall. In the ABC 37 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ellen Kennedy.
Imagine owning a home where the energy you use every day comes from the sun. This will a house built in the distant future or one that you can't afford. However, it is available right now. Energy Homes, a division of Forecoulter Buildings, will design a sustainable, high-performance home that can reduce the amount of money you spend on energy, often to zero. This is done by greatly reducing the energy needed for heating and cooling with a zero-energy home.
God, can you imagine David Hogg voting? I mean, I know he can now, but going back to that day, him being able to vote like 2 months later. Finally teamed up with somebody in Fallout last night. I was doing a quest, and it was a particularly difficult one just because they weren't clear on the instructions in it, and it didn't have the markers of where to go on the map. Sometimes it would disappear. And this other guy kept looking around, and finally he's like, yo, I can't find this thing. Where is it? And I just found it, so I showed him where to get it. And then I couldn't find the next thing, and then he found it, and then we both ended up saving each other's life once we got out. So it was a nice little 40-minute experience with some heavily accented dude who spoke English, though. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. I usually avoid social contact with people.
Come in, look at what we have, see what we have to offer, and we would love the opportunity to show you what we can do. Come to see Kramer Interiors on University Drive next to Pepper Grill in City Plaza.
Yeah, I'm watching the police standoff that we texted everybody. I'm watching it. We got the press conference going right now. They're in a standoff with this guy. If you ask me, it's not a national story, but I don't really know why it's getting the attention that it's getting. I mean, there was a sheriff's deputy who was shot, but I think we crashed the texting service. It's really funny that this song came up right now. Really funny that this song came up right now. It's a perfect song for the topic that we are discussing. By the way, I want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. Well, we have an actual amendment to H.R. 1 that would make the legal voting age 16, and they would be able to vote in the 2020 elections. And be very interesting. By the way, Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat of Massachusetts, introduced it. So what do you think? 574-25-95-95-3. Sarah, welcome to the program.
Hey, Casey, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm living the dream.
All right.
I'm kind of the mind that delayed adolescence has gotten our country into enough trouble, and reducing the voting age would only kind of make that worse. But by the same token, I don't want anybody writing a literacy test or a voting test or anything like that, because you don't know who's going to put in the question. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd say leave it at 18 and leave the legislation alone. You can't trust these children to themselves to school on time, let alone vote for the future leaders of our nation.
Yeah, and I think the previous caller, I think his point was that if voting is a right, then there shouldn't be a test, but owning a firearm is also a right, and yet you keep making us take tests and pass these other things. So I get what he was trying to say, but I also totally understand what you're saying. There shouldn't be a litmus test. If it's a right, it's a right. But that right kicks in at adulthood.
Exactly. So, like, if you're a citizen, it's a right, yes. If you work, you pay taxes, which means you should have a voice to vote. I could see that argument as well. But
yeah,
we're in enough trouble letting teenagers run the country. I think reducing it to 16 is only going to make it worse.
All right, Sarah, I appreciate it. Thank you much. Take care.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. Sarah hates 16-year-olds too. 574-25-95-95-3. Is there anybody out there who loves 16-year-olds and has faith in them? Anybody? No? Joe says no. Dave, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Casey.
What's up?
I love 16-year-olds. However, yeah. Actually, I have one living in my home right now, and my daughter is a wonderful young lady, but I see her and her friends and the things that sway them from day to day, minute to minute, hour to hour.
Uh-oh. She is a pliable individual. Is that what you're saying?
I think that if they were promised certain things, then votes would just flow whatever way those promises came from.
You mean kind of like offering free college to college students?
Yeah.
How that seems to sway them a little bit?
Right.
Interesting.
Right. And with little understanding of the effects of how that voting might affect everything.
A lot of 16-year-olds have never had a job.
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. All right, Dave. So you got a 16-year-old daughter. You don't like her very much, and no, she shouldn't be able to vote because she's too pliable. Got it. Well, I should say she's single pliable.
There you
but
go.
yeah, I got it. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for playing along, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right. 574-25-95-95-3. I hope he replays that call to his daughter. Jonah, welcome to the program.
Sorry, Casey?
Yeah.
Hi. So I'm 24, and even I believe the age should be 25.
You don't have faith in yourself?
No, it's not that I don't have faith in myself. It's just that I, along with my friends that are 24,
yeah,
we're just now getting to ages where all of society is actually on our shoulders. Where we can feel the full impact financially and just in our relationships to see just how involved we are, I guess.
Yeah.
As far as logically seeing what we believe we should and shouldn't do until we're 25, I don't think we should have that right. And mostly because even science is backing up that our brains aren't fully developed until that age.
That's true. Yep. Mid to late 20s is what they say. 25 to 28 is generally when your brain actually stops developing. And until then, it's not fully formed. So right. Would it be fair to say that you are anti people being able to vote whose brains have not fully formed yet?
Yeah.
So the brainily deformed individual should not be allowed to vote.
Well, no, but I think in age is a general law that would be very beneficial.
I got you. I might be in a mood today, and so I'm just saying a bunch of weird stuff. But all right, Jonah, I appreciate it. You're well reasoned. Yeah. I'm not. All right, my man. Appreciate it. All right, so he says, he brings up very good points. Science does say this. 25 to 28 is when the brain stops actually developing. And so that's when, a lot of people are saying that we should raise the age before you can even join the military to mid-20s because that's when you're able to fully develop. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand the science behind it. John, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi there.
I think the age should be 18, but I also think that everybody that's on government assistance should not be allowed to vote.
I've heard this before. Yeah.
Because if you're on government assistance, that means you're unable to take care of yourself. So you're relying on others that are paying their taxes to take care of you. So that way, if you're off, and you can make it so, we can make it so if you're off government assistance for, say, a calendar year, then it's like it.
Okay.
So if you're contributing to society, then you can vote. If you're relying on society, then you're a dependent.
But what about a 16-year-old who has a full-time job and goes to school?
If they're an emancipated minor, maybe. Because then they're a contributing member of society. They're responsible enough to go to school, to have a job, and to pay their bills.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. John, appreciate it. Thank you very much. I think the 16-year-old age comes from people say, well, you can consent in most states to sexual activity at 18 or 16, excuse me. And therefore you should be considered an adult. Unless, of course, you want to own a firearm, join the military, be tried as an adult, be able to vape, drink, gamble, not even necessarily gambling, just betting on a couple of horses. That's not gambling. All of those little things that you typically do that you have to be like 21 or sometimes 18, 16-year-olds can't do. So it's what I get from this is that, and we'll take more calls here in just a second. What I get from this is that Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat of Maryland, or Massachusetts, I think, Massachusetts, that she does not think that voting is a big deal. She thinks it's a pretty mundane, low important activity for her to be out there to say, yeah, 16-year-olds should totally be able to do this, but they should definitely not be able to do these other things, which tells me that the other things are far more important and of higher value and higher risk than voting. So voting must not be all that important anyway. Bruce, welcome to the program.
Yeah, someone needs to check the 26th Amendment of the Constitution of this United States, because you can't lower the voting age without a constitutional amendment. The 26th Amendment says it's for 18-year-old and older. And so this lady from Maryland, who promised to uphold the Constitution is going firmly against it.
Yeah, but that's not new, is it?
No, it's not new. Every one of our politicians try the best to tear our country down, and we need to throw the whole bunch of them out.
All right. Bruce, appreciate it. Thank you very much. You take care. Of course, we'll get to the 26th Amendment here in just a little bit. Phil, welcome to the program. Oh, cool. I get to listen to myself. Sweet. Hello, Phil.
Yeah.
Hi. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, what do you think?
Well, I don't believe that it should be allowed to be the age change to 16. You're not considered an adult until you're 18. A parent is responsible for you if you do anything stupid under the age of 18.
Yeah.
A parent's responsible for it.
True.
A parent is required to pay child support up until, what, age 21, 22 if they're in college?
Yeah, I think if they're a student, yeah, it goes up that high, yeah.
Okay, so why on earth would we allow them to vote at age 16? I work with a lot of people that are in their early 20s, and if you ask them about politics, they're clueless.
Oh, they know
nothing.
I mean, yeah, have you seen Twitter? I mean...
So we're going to allow them to vote at age 16? Does anyone ever watch the videos of Louder with Crowder where he goes to college campuses and asks political questions? They're absolutely clueless.
And we play campus reform videos all the time on this show. Yeah, 100%. I get it. Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
And those are like 19, 20-year-olds.
Yes.
Yep.
So why on earth would we lower if anything, we should raise the voting age?
Heck, I think we should get rid of voting altogether. Just let the Illuminati sort it out. They know what they're doing.
Okay.
I was wondering where you're going to go with that, Phil.
Well, voting is one of the things that we can do as citizens to actually feel that our opinion matters.
Yeah. Just not the opinions of 16-year-olds.
Well, not exactly. Not in my opinion, and maybe other people disagree with my opinion, but
I haven't found them yet.
Have you ever sat down and tried to have a political conversation with a 16-year-old?
I've had a couple that are pretty bright, but for the most part, yeah, pretty clueless. But
well, I wouldn't say it's all of them, but sure. I'm just saying the majority.
Yeah,
you probably cannot have a political conversation with the average 16-year-old.
All right.
So why on earth would you allow them to vote?
Well, it gives the Democrat Party votes. Duh. All right, Phil.
This has to be a Democratic thing.
Well, of course it does. I've got to roll, though, Phil. I'm a little bit late, but I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to continue this. Is there anybody out there who thinks a 16-year-old should be able to vote? Anybody? Come on, there's got to be somebody. This is the land of Pete Buttigieg. There has to be somebody who's pro 16-year-old who can vote. Has to be. Come on, Petey. Give us a call. 574-25-95-95-3. MNC News Time is 3:32. Time to check out Masters Heating and Air Conditioning online at mastersheatcool.com. Masters gets there faster.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Phone lines are on fire. I think there's smoke that's actually going to come out of this thing. Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Are you calling about the voting age topic? All right. Can I get your first name, please? All right. Try to get you on there, Jerry. Do. It's 3:30. There's nothing in the that's probably What about prostitutes? Al is saying the 16-year-olds are calling in because aren't calling in because they're still in school. They're still in school. Got it. Like 3:30. That's 3:30. Most schools. We used to go to school till 3:30 back in the day. Not anymore. Concord will have to start. Apparently, have to start starting later and have to change their times because they're low on bus drivers. So they don't have enough bus drivers because there's too many kids going to one school. And people are like, hey, we're going to go from this crappy school to the overfunded school. Overpopulated. Yo, David. Dude, I went to your house today. Is that red house? It says
19 and 20. Is that the same house? Like, can I drop your knife off there or what? Because I went there today, but I wasn't sure that would be okay or not. It seemed like it was the same house that had 2 addresses, and I didn't want to leave it there. I was wondering. I didn't know, but so I did not leave it. I have it with me.
Wrong house.
Huh?
He says wrong house.
Well, which one is it then? Because the sign on one side has your address, and then the sign on the other side, but it's the same piece of wood, has a different address, and then it has like the bowlers or something like that. So which one is it? Not even close? Well, that's the address I had. It was the right address. It was on the corner, right? There's like a yellow garage type building next to it. I mean, unless my GPS just sent me to the wrong Yankee Street in Niles, I don't know. On Tame? I'll have to look at it again. Well, I'm glad I didn't leave it then. What color is the house?
Just a short drive from anywhere in Michiana. We're located between the 9th and 10th holes of the Four Lakes Golf Course on Highway 12 in Edwardsburg, and we are open to the public.
You're across from the Red House. Got it. Yeah, that did not have the address that I was looking at all. So I was looking at one piece of wood. On this side, it had their address, and on this side, it had your address, but it was one piece of wood. So I was like, it's really, really strange and really weird. So.
Right now, you can earn 4 times the Red Zone reward points or 10% off select parts. Offer valid through March 31st. Bain-Welker.com for details or call Bain.
Well, I'll try and get over there tomorrow. Oh, you're colorblind. Gotcha. So how do you know the Red House isn't your house then? Huh? Maybe the Red House is your house.
Maybe because his house is not red or green.
Could be
able to tell that what color his house is.
I miss being able to tell colorblind jokes with Tim around. He used to ask Tim like if I matched. Does this match? He goes, how do I know? East of 60. Okay. Oh, I'll tell the jokes. Now that I know that I got another colorblind person out there. But yeah, I did. I came by to drop it off today rather than mail it to you. And then I got all confused. I tried calling you, knocking on doors. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know how to spell Leonard. So
Leo. Nard.
No.
I was watching you do it. What the hell is he doing? I'm like,
like how to spell the way it sounds.
Lanyard? Lanyard? That was funny. It was so much so that I noticed and felt the need to shake my head at you. I was watching you struggle. There you go. Look at that.
Never wrong. You have no proof.
And instead of calling somebody Leonard, you can call them Nard. That's short for Leonard. Some people will tell you it's Leo. Those people are wrong.
I don't know what Leonard. You still need to do Thermodyne.
I will.
I did not hear her when we came out.
I acknowledged it.
Well, I didn't hear you acknowledge it. I was busy taking a phone call.
Linda says he wasn't good at matching at all. I'll bet. That's why I like to joke. First, I don't care if I match. I just don't care at all. But I always liked asking him if I did, just because it would be a funny conversation.
Wouldn't it be great to see your windows in a whole new light? Do it right. Call your local.
Less people watching today. I don't know if it's working again or not. I have no clue.
I haven't got a call about it.
It's been 4 days. People are probably.
It's been 4 days.
Over it. It's Thursday, man. You believe that? Oh, I don't even have the app on my phone anymore. You got it, buddy. I just wanted you to know that I came by to give you a stabby. And it's your fault because you live in a weird place that you didn't get it. So, there you go. Speed says it is working. Haha. Dean said he wrecked her. Well, it's trying to get back to you, man. Why don't you move to a neighborhood where the addresses aren't so jacked up and you'd have your knife right now? Jesus. Got a baby. Every customer I have, I swear to God. Every single one of them. I put a nice new edge on there, too, for you, bud. I may or may not have cut myself with it. I don't remember which knife cut my hand. I don't know. Did you see the Brooke Stam? So Brooke Stam is a local fighter. It wasn't one of my knives, I don't think, but she like cut the tip of her finger off today, and she posted it on her Instagram stories. I'm thinking about sending her a coupon code. Let her know, hey, next time one of my knives would have taken it off clean. You wouldn't have this in your hand. You might have my DNA. All I ask is that you clone me on the back of a gerbil's back. That's it.
What? No.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. All right, here's the deal. Data Bunker. I'm going to run through some tests here, okay? These are some of the tests that they have done on the Data Bunker to prove how indestructible this thing is, right? It's been shot out of a cannon 3 different times, 3 different ways, okay? 55-pound sharp instrument penetration test, 25,000-pound crush test, 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour, 500 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 hours, submerged in diesel fuel for 2 days, 10 minutes under a firefighter solution, 48 hours in 15 meters of salt water. It survived a nuclear EMP test. Oh, and it's TSA approved for carry-on. Yeah, it's going to protect your files, folks. Okay, so we're coming into tornado season. We've already had the first round of tornadoes hit. We've seen some of the devastation from that. As the weather gets drier, we're going to deal with wildfires, all of these things. Imagine something like this happening to your home and your documents, even if it's just a flood. You know what? It could just be that your water heater goes out. And your water heater just floods the boxes, destroys your paperwork, destroys your documents. You know, these are all things that Data Bunker will protect your critical and vital documents and files from being damaged with. It's not connected to the internet. All you do is plug it into your computer and you have access to those files. Yes, you can lock it down. You can encrypt it. You can do all of that stuff. This is actually the perfect solution for those of you out there who engage in cryptocurrency mining. And if you buy with cryptocurrency, you actually save 10% with a coupon code CRYPTO just by going to databunker1.com. That is databunker and the number 1.com. While you're there, use coupon code Casey, CASEY. Save yourself some more money. Go check out Data Bunker. This thing's amazing. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. Should we lower the voting age to 16? Wow, we had a lot of commercials on that last break. We're almost time for we're only like a minute or two late, right? 1 minute late, and okay, we're almost time for break time. So let's get a couple of calls in while we can. We have Leonard. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's on your mind, man?
Hey, man, I think we ought to throw a monkey wrench into the whole voting situation with 16-year-olds.
Okay.
If they want to go for it, why don't we make it so that they have to, first of all, take a test, and upon completion and satisfactory passing the test, they need to petition the courts to acquire a license to become a licensed voter.
There we go. That's a good way of looking at doing this to parry into the Second Amendment stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. I think it works.
And now, if you do that too, if you're 16 and you do that, you have to maintain that license for the rest of your life in order to be able to vote.
Okay.
But if you wait until you're 18, you don't have to.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm just throwing things out there. They keep throwing random stuff at firearm owners. I might as well just throw this out there too.
I figure it works with all the other crazy stuff that they're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that they keep telling us that politicians that are elected to our government get people killed? So, wouldn't we want some kind of common sense election reform to protect people from getting killed by these politicians? Politicians are only put there by people who vote. So there's got to be universal background checks and things like that on people who vote. 10-day waiting periods and everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they could band together as 16-year-olds and get a few others with them and possibly elect a MS-13 gang member for.
All right, Leonard. Appreciate it, bud. You take care. All righty. Okay, we'll take the rest of your phone calls coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Are you calling about the voting age topic? He converted his printer to pick tomatoes out of a salad. Okay. That's interesting. All right, can I get your first name, please? All right, I'll get you on there. All right, I'll try to get you on there. Everyone else hung up. So. What the hell? I don't know. We hung on for 14 minutes. Oh, no, we're not going to another commercial break. By the way, you know what? I didn't on the show stop to acknowledge that Bruno from Bruno's Pizza died this week. And I wanted to do that. Maybe you can do it after our call. Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey? Are you calling about the voting age topic? All right, can I get your first name? Say that again. Okay, guys, I need your help. Can you spell that for me, sir? What did I miss? So about 20 minutes ago, somebody sent a message via the texting service to John. And it says, "Hey, John, get bent. Let's see how you would do being legally blind or maybe crippled and in a wheelchair for life, unable to wipe your own butt." So what did John do? Which John? I'm assuming John. Yeah, because it says MNC, "Hey, John." 20 minutes ago. So he must have had a news story or something, right? Did we screenshot it and send it to him? I'm really curious. I want to know what John did. Okay, well, Windows key, print screen, screenshots. In case you're going to start making 3D printed steaks. No, but that will be a fake news flash. Close the voter ID loophole. Why? No, you don't want. Screw it. No. Now I want a steak, damn it. All I've had is a bowl of cereal, which hurts my stomach because I shouldn't have cereal.
and then a piece of bad pizza.
I've had 2 pieces of bad pizza and a Star Crunch.
And I'm like, I feel really bad right now. Like I feel like I have a bunch of stuff in me that I shouldn't have in me. That's what I feel like.
I don't understand the appeal of unsweet tea.
Of unsweet tea? Well, I mean, first of all, it has to be made properly. You can't just buy the jarred crap.
Okay, but
you make it properly, not too dark, and you put a little friggin' mint in it, and then it's refreshing.
Sure, but
that's just cheap, unsweetened tea,
and it's disgusting.
Which is no bueno. Yeah, I saw the 3D printed steak thing.
Yeah, we saw it on.
And it's gonna be on the fake news flash next week. It's happening.
That's returning finally
because it's not real steak.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way. Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away.
Well, I guess I can hang this on the bottom of that. It clips easier, and then I don't die.
What?
Hanging it up, the flag. Oh, it just goes on the bottom there. Yeah. It's high enough. It doesn't show on the camera. I have to nearly die. Swizzo, Dizzo, Rizzo, Fizzo.
Text EASY to 484848. Text EASY to 484848 to try Babbel for
Somebody let an anime girl in the studio.
4848. We're your home for the
It's like the one word I can remember off the top of my head.
Speed, we got to get together too and walk the wasteland, brother. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. Tactical Training Systems is holding a basic pistol class Sunday, March 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. You can contact Paul at Second Amendment Arms and Range to reserve your spot. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more info. And we are talking about a Democrat from Massachusetts. What is her name again? Ayanna Pressley. She has introduced an amendment to House Resolution H.R. 1 that would allow 16-year-olds to vote in federal elections in 2020. Now, somebody brought up the 26th Amendment earlier. And so in the 26th Amendment, they lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. However, in 1970, which is the year before that, Congress, the Supreme Court ruled that Congress could change the voting age for federal elections, but state and local elections could not be altered. So that's where the ability to do this comes in. They have introduced constitutional amendments that would make it 16 all over, but that has not been successful. So she thinks that it should go down to 16. We're taking your thoughts on that. 574-25-95-95.3. Len, welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Casey. I got to hand it to you, buddy. You know how to stir up a hornet's nest. You could keep on this one for a week.
Yeah, Joe's going to need a pay raise. His fingers are hurting.
Casey, I have a lot of experience with these kind of folks. Most folks under 40 don't know the Pledge of Allegiance, don't know how this country started, have no idea what's going on politically, and cannot even discuss it. I am totally against people voting until they're at least 21. I was 21 when they lowered the voting age to 18.
Yeah.
I was upset because I had to wait until I was 21.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
The point is the last two generations at least have been dumbed down to the point where they don't teach civics, they don't teach government, they don't teach geography, they don't teach anything in these schools. Today they start history after World War II. These young kids have no idea how this country started or why we joined the military or joined the police department or try to help our fellow Americans.
All very valid points, man. Although they are starting to teach history now and geography. It's just called feminist geography. That's the name of the new course that they're teaching. We talked about that earlier in the week, actually. It's a real thing. It's an actual thing. believe it or not. So, all right, Len, appreciate it, bud. Thank you much.
Okay.
All right.
Stay safe, Casey.
You too, buddy. All right. 574-2595, 95.3. Mike, welcome to the program.
Hi, Casey.
Hi there.
It's Mike from the live stream.
Hey.
So you know.
What's up, buddy?
Hey. Voting age. It's a resounding no. I agree with Glenn, everything he said. Civics, government, and you got to prove that you passed by presenting a high school diploma when you go register to vote.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right. Well, hey, that makes perfect sense. Do you have to present your you want them to do the high school diploma? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want
or equivalent.
Or equivalent. Fair enough. Okay. So dropouts don't get to vote. Yeah. Dropouts don't get to vote unless they get the equivalent. That makes sense. All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
And if you want to watch the live stream, youtube.com/Casey the host, and then you can talk to Mike and others. Gordon, welcome to the program.
Okay, well, a 16-year-old person has been living at home, right?
I mean, you assume that they're living at home.
Yeah, most all of them are under somebody's protection where they have all of their needs met, and they don't know anything about persons who have to go to work and earn a living. They have children that pay taxes and all kinds of things that these 16-year-olds have no idea about because they've been taken care of.
Yeah.
And so they will be voting on people like that who have to go to work and earn a living, and they are unable to appreciate or know what it really is about. They don't know what life is all about, really, to be self-sustaining. And so I think that they're just not able to comprehend what real life is like when you have to depend upon yourself to provide a living for yourself and your family.
All right.
And so I don't think they should be allowed to vote that will affect those people because they're still living at home and they would be voting on people like that.
Makes sense. All right. Hey, Gordon, I appreciate it, bud. Thank you very much. Take care. I want to try and get some other calls on before we get out of here. Todd, welcome to the program.
Hey, is this me?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man.
Hey, voting is not a right; it's a privilege, as defined by the republic. And long and short, do you have any business exercising that privilege if you don't have full access to your Second Amendment rights?
Ooh, that's a big one. How is it that you can say that voting is such a small little thing that we can let 16-year-olds do it, but they can't go vape?
Do what now?
How is it that voting is such a small little thing that we can let 16-year-olds do it, but we won't let them go vape? If they want to vape, they're not even allowed to vape. They can't even suck down water vapor. It's against the law. They've got to be 18 or 21 now. Well, 18 now, but they're trying to make it 21 in multiple states. So
that's very true.
Yeah, so it's all very good points. Very good points.
But like I said, if they don't have their Second Amendment right, if you have the privilege of voting, you should have full Second Amendment rights. You should be able to buy a gun anywhere you want.
Fair enough, and they're changing that to 21 too. All right, Todd, appreciate it, bud. Thank you much. All right, what do we have here? We're not going to get to everybody. Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing, Casey?
I'm hanging in there, bud. You got about 50 seconds.
All right, if we're going to allow 16-year-olds to vote, then they need to go in the military.
Ooh, automatically.
Automatic.
Okay.
I've got a 16-year-old daughter whose hormones go nuts, and there's no way that she would be able to vote.
Doesn't have it.
Most of the kids today are that way.
Well, it's obviously, when you get the paycheck, you start understanding the taxes a little bit more. Your opinions change about things. When you aren't being affected by that, then yeah, it's really easy to vote to take away other people's money. Sure. So
yeah.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
All right, thank you very much. All right, got time for one last call. Tina, you have 50 seconds. You're it.
Okay, I think we should allow 16-year-olds to vote. Matter of fact, let's go to 10 or 12.
Hey, you know what? 10-year-olds are pretty wise, actually.
They are. I've got a 12-year-old, and guess what? I can make her vote the way I want her to. Otherwise, seriously, otherwise I'll let her know that warm, cozy bedroom you sleep in every night is going to go bye-bye.
You know what? I've changed my opinion. 16-year-olds should be able to vote, but they get 2 votes now. But but the parents get to dictate what that vote is. Yeah.
Right. I get to dictate it. My child knows she lives underneath a dictatorship, her dad and I. So, you know, I mean, I'm not
Makes
sure
sense.
what, hey, go ahead. Let's go down.
Makes sense. Hey, Tina, I got to run. I got to run, Tina. Thank you very much. We got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.
WTRC FM and HD1. Niles.
Okay. You make it sound like PewDiePie would be a bad president. I'm not convinced he would be a bad president. He might be entertaining.
He's the most popular YouTuber. Really?
She's right. Vote for Trump or you're grounded from the PS4. Yeah. That's funny. Oy vey. Well, that's a podcast.
Yeah, there's that whole hour. You don't even have to.
I don't have to do anything else. Just that one. So all of my stuff didn't get posted yesterday because I have been locked out of my website from this location. And the link to get back in is not working. So I've got to go into my code and fix it. I didn't have time. Oh, God. Oh, Al, damn. Jeez, that was savage. Dude. Ooh. That was brutal, Al. Even I'm going to walk away from that.
And we are just getting word moments ago that the injured officer has died. A sell-off on Wall Street. Dow finishing down 202 points at the close of the bell. This is Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. Michiana's news channel on 95.3 FM, the 95.3 MNC skill on Alexa, and 95.3MNC.com. I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, police in Kosciuszko and Noble counties are looking for 4 suspects accused of using fake credit cards.
On Sunday afternoon and night, the 4 suspects used the fake cards at Lass's Handy Dandy gas stations in Ligonier, Northwester, Warsaw, and Walketville. The credit cards were used to purchase a large amount of Newport cigarettes. The suspects were traveling in a white Jeep and compact silver SUV and used Illinois identification during the transactions. We have their descriptions and surveillance photos at 953MNC.com.
That's 95.3 MNC's Heather Starr. A South Haven man died in a crash in Van Buren County's Geneva Township. Police say it happened around 10:30 Wednesday morning. He was not wearing a seatbelt and was transported to Bronson Methodist Hotel Zoo, where he was pronounced dead. His name has not been released. And the Kosciuszko County Sheriff's Office is warning their residents to use caution when it comes to phone calls from unknown numbers. Scammers will present themselves as authorities.
Casey, my dog is 16. Can he vote too? Yes.
Emergency can range from an arrest to hospitalization. The perpetrators will usually first lay out a story, then seek financial aid. The monetary requests have been in the form of a wire transfer, online payment, or gift cards.
I'll make a deal, though. I will support lowering the age to 16.
53,900.
I heard it. I clapped. I did all that stuff. I was there when they did the announcement. So, I was just telling everybody, I would support lowering the age to 16 if you allow people to sell their vote.
It's my vote. It's my property. If I want to sell it to somebody.
Legally.
Yeah, legally. Capitalism, man. If I have the legal right to vote, but I don't want it, instead of abstaining, I could sell it to the highest bidder. That way, every vote gets counted. Because you know every vote will get counted. All sorts of packs out there buying votes.
No, it's is this Papa John's?
Papa John's.
Papa John's pizza.
It's moderately acceptable. No. It would have been nice if it was Bruno's, but I don't know if Papa John's is a sponsor. They're doing the Radiothon for St. Jude's right now. And I just have not had like consistent food in like 2 days. So it's cold and not great, but I'll take it. Well, Mike, get some pizza, dude. I'm not keeping you from getting pizza. The Little Caesars pretzel pizza is actually pretty good. A little too salty. When you knock some of that off of the crust, it was really good. So instead of pizza sauce, it's cheese sauce. So it's basically like a giant friggin' pretzel. It's pretty good. Although they could have gone with the marinara, would have been just fine.
Oh, you need to reauthorize that.
God. Stupid YouTube. People talk for more than an hour, YouTube.
Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com and take it down. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer.
I still love that people post that the chat died in the chat when it's dead. Because I can't see it. Because I'm looking at it through the software, not on the website. When you post it on the website, you can see it. Yeah. So
that's why I exist.
That's true.
No other reason.
Brian knows it's good. It's a little too salty, little too much. But just knock a little bit off. That's a good pizza.
All right, let's talk about something else.
Monkeys, what?
Something new.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. Several of you have an opinion about this via the texting service as well. I'm not going to read all of them. I can't. Somebody did ask if their dog, who is 16 years old, could vote, and I say yes, absolutely. Why not? Nothing sacred anymore. Go for it. I did say that on the live stream, I would concede to lowering the age to 16 as long as we could then sell our vote. I'm all in favor of selling your vote. It's your property. You want to sell it because you don't want to participate in a particular election. I am A-OK with that. And by the way, 100% of the votes get cast every single year. Because anybody who didn't want to participate would sell it to a political action committee or something like that. And then they would go out there and they would utilize your vote to their best of their ability. I think that's a great capitalist approach. All right, 574-2595-95.3. But then the rich people will make all of the decisions. Yes. Right. What's wrong with that? What could possibly go wrong? See, sometimes people, I'm just trying to teach everybody a lesson. All right. This is not The Onion. This is not The Onion. Okay. For those of you who do not know, who are getting ready to run for office, The Onion is satire. It's not fake news, but it's satire. You have to explain this because every year there's a politician gets caught. Every single year, some politician shares an Onion story. Goes, what in the world? Yeah, and it's not real there, buddy. But anyway, this is not The Onion, and this involves the NAACP. So the NAACP used to be a respectable organization. They aren't anymore. And this is an accurate tweet, actually. Where did it go? Okay. Damn racist white people in their damn shuffles cards. Earthquake warnings. That's Ian Miles Chong. The NAACP says the earthquake warning signs are part of a long history of white supremacy aimed at forcing black people to move out of neighborhoods. I don't know what to tell you, ladies. I genuinely don't know what to say about all of this. So let's just open the Associated Press and dive down the rabbit hole, shall we? Portland. Oh, shocker. It's in Portland, Oregon. A new city policy requiring public signs on brick buildings warning they might collapse in an earthquake is part of a long history of white supremacy aimed at forcing black people to move out of neighborhoods, according to the NAACP in Portland. A group on Thursday decried the policy affecting some 1,600 unreinforced masonry buildings that are on average 90 years old, many in areas with predominantly black populations. Now, what would happen if they didn't put the signs up there warning them that the building might collapse? And then people took shelter in the building and then it collapsed. What might the NAACP say then? They should have warned us. They didn't warn us because, well, it's white supremacy. The policy, quote, exacerbates a long history of systemic and structural betrayals of trust and policies of displacement, demolition, and dispossession predicated on classism, racism, and white supremacy, the group says. The NAACP said that the policy will make it tougher for owners of brick buildings to get loans and will discourage investments. It says that means buildings will have to be sold and that developers will demolish and redevelop, increasing the cost to live there and forcing current residents out. Redevelopment is typically something that happens in bad neighborhoods that are old and run down because you want to reinvigorate the neighborhood instead of allowing it to, turn into South Bend. Pause for dramatic effect. I'm not the one running around tearing down condemned houses. That's Mayor Buttigieg. And I don't even necessarily disagree with him on a lot of it, okay? But you got a choice. Stuff's 90 years old, falling apart. Do you either leave it there or do you tear it down and start over? Well, if you tear it down and you start over, I got news for you. Things are going to get more expensive. Sorry. It's either that or live in condemned houses, which is unacceptable. So it speaks to our houses of worship and everything about the black presence in the northeast area, said Reverend E.D. Mundane, a pastor at Celebration Tabernacle Church in North Portland and president of the Portland NAACP. City officials say that the ordinance approved in October is part of an effort ultimately aimed at upgrading old buildings to withstand an earthquake, though seismic upgrades likely wouldn't be required for at least 20 years, which such upgrades could cost brick building owners millions of dollars. Okay. If you live in an area that gets earthquakes, and they do in Portland, okay, and you've got a brick building, but it's old and it's not brought up to current engineering standards to withstand earthquakes, rather than having the people in the neighborhood think they're going to be safe by going into a brick building and having it collapse on them, you have signs on it that say that it's not been brought up to code. The building itself isn't condemned. It's just that if there's an earthquake, this may not be the best place for you to seek refuge. That's all. And they're saying that this is racism. Experts say that Portland is at risk because there's close to a 50% chance of a giant earthquake along the Cascadia subduction zone off of the Oregon coast in the next 50 years. The warning signs and a requirement that building owners must file a record of compliance is really just a disclosure, said Alex Cousins, a spokesman for the City Bureau of Development Services. That's the purpose behind it. The warning signs are to go up on public buildings this month and on most other buildings by March 1st. The warning on them says, quote, this is an unreinforced masonry building. Unreinforced masonry buildings may be unsafe in the event of a major earthquake. Like I said, if you didn't have these warnings on there and somebody ran into the buildings and then the building collapsed and there was an effort by the government to say, hey, we got to warn the public that these buildings are not earthquake proof, and that were to happen, the NAACP would be all over the government saying you didn't warn us that these buildings could collapse. So it's, darned if you do, darned if you don't. Okay, the building's not brought up to that code. It's not an earthquake-proof building. So they're just letting people know that. It's that simple. Now, if there's a major earthquake, people are still probably going to seek refuge in there, and hopefully it works out. But still, they have the right to know. And with the signs up there, you're walking around your neighborhood, you know which buildings are and are not good for an earthquake. In related action, a nonprofit coalition of Portland brick building owners recently filed a lawsuit seeking to block the ordinance, arguing it's unconstitutional under free speech and due process rights. That's interesting. The government is forcing private property owners to basically broadcast the government's message instead of their own, said John Lee DiLorenzo, an attorney for the group. Also, a coalition of music venues called Music Portland has sided with the NAACP, saying the ordinance threatens some 30 of its music venues. Okay. Don't tell anybody the buildings are going to collapse in an earthquake then. Just let them go in there and die. That's the better solution, right? These are old buildings that have not been brought up to code in a place that is earthquake prone. Now, Portland, Oregon is on a fault. That whole area of the country, north to south, is on a fault. And it is rife with earthquake activity, and they are big up there. And if you have buildings that are floating around because they're older and they have not been reinforced to prevent them from falling down, telling people that they might fall down in a major earthquake is the government actually doing their job of protecting the public. This is not an anti-private property ownership sort of a message. It's certainly nothing that is white supremacist. What a stupid thing to say. You've got the government literally out there trying to protect people in predominantly black neighborhoods. This is going up everywhere, though. This is not just in this neighborhood. And you've still got the NAACP going, no, it's white supremacists. It's white supremacists to tell us that buildings that are not structurally sound enough to withstand a major earthquake will actually fall down. How dare you tell us that? Wow. Okay. What's the alternative? Not tell anybody? Yeah, that sounds like a winner. We got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Bypass backups and
Find out before you're delayed with traffic alerts to your smartphone. Details at 953mnc.com.
The injured officer. Whatever standoff.
Yeah, Illinois.
Your breaking news and weather
He died.
stations.
Like as soon as you walked out, they announced it on Fox.
Prime Table offers 2 homemade soups prepared fresh every day. Soup included with every sandwich, lunch, and dinner special. Weather served by the Prime Table restaurant in Niles. The Prime Table offers 2 homemade soups prepared fresh every day. Soup included with every sandwich, lunch, and dinner special.
Your home comfort experts, specialist 5-day forecast.
Tonight will be cloudy with temperatures dropping to 24 degrees, and some light snow showers will move into Michiana after 7 a.m. through around 9 a.m. Less than half an inch accumulation is possible. The rest of Friday will be dry with partly to mostly cloudy skies and a seasonal high of 40 degrees. We keep warming up for Saturday with a high of 48, but rain showers will move in during the afternoon. They could be heavy at times as we go through the evening and eventually turn to some light snow by Sunday morning. The weekend is going to be very breezy with wind gusts of 40 miles per hour. And Sunday will have a high of 39 degrees. On Monday, we'll make it up to 38 with mostly to partly sunny skies. And we'll be back into the 40s by next Tuesday with a high of 42. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Erica Morbidini.
95.3 MNC weather text alerts. Now even faster to your cell phone, thanks to the latest technological upgrades. But whether you already subscribe or you want to start receiving them now, text the word weather to 45364. Text weather to 45364 to continue receiving 95.3 MNC weather text alerts. Minutes matter, and that's why our text alerts hit your phone even faster. But you've got to text weather to 45364. Message and data rates apply.
So the word different is used a lot in advertising. You know, see the difference, hear the difference, where the difference. But I got to tell you, I spent some time with Bill Martin, the CEO of Impress Jewelers. They're over in the Temper Grill Plaza on University Park Drive. And different really does sum up what they do at Impress Jewelry Creations. They've got customizable engagement rings with fully custom design. Capabilities there are limitless. I was talking to Bill, and the team that he's put together, the experience that this team has, and it really is the dream team. They have worked together in various places for years and years and years, and it really the size, shape, and budget. They focus on sparkle, which correlates with quality. And they do the custom work right there. When I say different, I mean they are different. You can feel it the minute you walk into Impress Jewelry Creations. Windows for drive, same play, tempered grill.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Pacino. I know
Michiana's News Channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
Years. You've been wanting to do something about it, but you have lots of questions and no dental insurance. At Apton, we're here to listen and provide the right dental solution to meet your needs. Whether that's getting you out of pain, improving your appearance, or improving your overall dental health.
Yeah, I can.
No insurance,
Give
no
me
problem.
just a second.
You don't have to have dental insurance to get great care from Apton. We have
That one itches like way down in your ear.
almost any budget, including 0% APR for those who qualify, and in-house financing for those with less than perfect credit. Call today
These are,
at 277
our CBD oil
or
person.
visit us on the
There we
web
go.
at afnet.com.
What?
See what patient
The person who
is
advertised.
all
Oh,
about at Afnet.
You can get them at Nutrition HQ.
you can get them at NHQ, or the blog says Polymax, but that doesn't make sense.
No, Polymax doesn't have CBD oil. Nutrition HQ has CBD oil, including topicals.
Yeah, but you can go to NHQ if you want to get CBD.
Mention me, get a discount.
And you can mention Casey and get a discount. What's the shopping center called?
Nutrition HQ is next to Bed Bath & Beyond on Grape and Indian Ridge.
Okay, it's next to Bed Bath & Beyond on Grape and Indian Ridge.
If you've ever painted, you know you're going to have hours to do the job.
All right.
So leave it to the professionals.
No problem.
Crispin Custom Painting to do the job right. Watch as the Crispin
Yeah,
crew delivers
that's
the
weird.
highest
It's-
quality work quickly, professionally, and beautifully.
I don't know if we have anybody else advertising it, but they have it.
Crispin Custom Painting offers
I know the Bear has a place where they do all their things.
Yeah, but that's the Bear, and we don't like them. So screw those guys.
I didn't know if it was the same person.
It's not. It's not the same people. It's the Bear, and no. And I will not be going there. I might need a pencil to get down there. It's like date. Like I can feel it behind my jaw. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. You want to thank R&B Car Company locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. Quick little update on that standoff that's happening in Illinois. We got word, was it last commercial break?
Was during our hour enter break.
Okay, so about 20 minutes ago or so, that the sheriff who was shot with this standoff has passed away, succumbed to their wounds, unfortunately. This thing is still ongoing. So they've got SWAT and crisis negotiators and everything else. This guy's held up in his car. So we're real sorry to hear about that. But unfortunately, they did lose their battle with their wounds. So we'll keep you updated on that as that continues to progress. And as soon as it is brought to an end, we will let you know about that as well. All right, 574-2595-95.3. That's 2595-953. I actually titled, I think, my live stream video about this yesterday, and I didn't even mention it. I'm terrible. I am so terrible with that. Colorado baker Jack Phillips is 2-0 now after state officials dropped their second attempt to coerce him into baking products that violate his beliefs. Phillips, in turn, dropped a federal lawsuit. Now, we'll get into this, but essentially, this is Masterpiece Cake Shop. They were the ones that were asked to make the wedding cake and denied that. And the state started going after them. Now, what was interesting about that was that when the state started going after them in the state of Colorado, the Civil Rights Division, or Commission, in Colorado at the time, they were saying that he was violating their civil rights by not making them a cake for their gay wedding. The problem is that gay weddings were illegal in Colorado anyway. So Colorado was saying that he was violating their civil rights by not making a cake, but Colorado is not violating their civil rights by banning them from even getting married. So it was a very strange, weird thing, okay? So he ended up winning that case. And if you remember, right after he won that case, a group set him up again to go ahead and get this second violation, if you will, with the Colorado Civil Rights Commission, and foolishly they went after him. So now we had a second case. So that's where we're picking up here with the second case. I have and will always serve everyone who comes into my shop. I simply can't celebrate events or express messages that conflict with my religious beliefs. That's what he said in a statement on Tuesday. Today is a win for freedom, he added. I'm very grateful and looking forward to serving my customers as I always have, with love and respect. Now, again, people say that this is discrimination. It's not discrimination, and here's why. If you say that gay people are not allowed in your business, you're discriminating against them. That's a violation of federal law, okay? If you say that you're not going to participate in specific, narrowly defined events because of your religious beliefs, that is not discrimination. That is simply opting out of a service. So you cannot deny all service to a group of people that is considered a protected class, but if you want to, based on your religious beliefs, you are allowed to opt out of various sort of celebrations, things like that. Now, what the government has to come back on you with is government compelling interest. So if the government, and you can still, even if in this case, let's say you go to Masterpiece Cake Shop and they say, no, we're not going to go ahead and make a cake for your celebration because it violates my religious beliefs, but you feel that it's not legitimate, you can still file a complaint with the Civil Rights Commission, okay? And then what happens is a court case happens, and the government has to see if there is a government compelling interest that could force them to violate their religious beliefs in order to accommodate this particular event. So this has always been a protection that we have. This is why everybody who says that Indiana's RFRA law was allowing discrimination is completely wrong, because there was always a compelling government interest protection in there. But they ignored that. So they just ran around and said that businesses were going to be able to turn down service to gay people anytime that they wanted for any reason. That was never true. That was never going to happen. That's not what the law said. So even if you were denied service, even if they had the right to opt out of certain ceremonies based on their faith, you could still win a lawsuit against them if you could prove that there is a compelling government interest there, okay? Now, there wouldn't be with a wedding, but there could be with another major event. So, you know, that something like that could absolutely happen. So he was ambushed. He was set up for the second time. Remember, he was ambushed on the first time as well. They knew full well that he had no issue serving gay people in his establishment because they were customers of his, and he never had an issue with them. Phillips in turn filed a lawsuit in U.S. District Court for the Colorado Civil Rights Commission, which had previously targeted Phillips for fines regarding the same-sex wedding cake, again found probable cause that state law required him to bake and design a gender transition cake. Okay, so Phillips in turn filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court of the District of Colorado. Colorado was relentless in seeking to crush me and my shop for living consistently with my deeply held religious beliefs. On Tuesday, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, a Democrat, announced the Colorado Civil Rights Commission was dropping its action and Phillips would drop his federal lawsuit. Now, there's still going to be other groups that are going after Phillips with this, and so Colorado is going to have to get their act together and stop pursuing this stuff. After careful consideration of the facts, both sides agreed that it was not in anyone's best interest to move forward with these cases. Weiser said, the larger constitutional issues might well be decided down the road. Yes, this is one of those things that has to be addressed in the Supreme Court, apparently. But these cases will not be the vehicle for resolving them. Equal justice for all will continue to be a core value that will be upheld as we enforce our states and nation's civil rights laws. Now, of course, this case was one of the three cases that really got the ball rolling on all of this stuff. This case and the case with the photographers and then that wedding venue, those three cases are what even spurned the RFRA protection in Michigan and Indiana to even be introduced. Now, of course, there's federal RFRA that has been on the books since the Clinton administration, although it had been altered slightly because of a Supreme Court ruling. The RFRA protection simply allowed people to not be forced to participate in things that violated their religious beliefs. But the government always has that compelling interest protection. So if you felt that it wasn't a legitimate religious belief that was allowing a business to not serve you, you could still file a complaint and you could still win a very big lawsuit. The government could show that they attempted to abuse the federal RFRA law to go ahead and discriminate, and they lost. They lost very quickly. It was not a drawn out case at all. They tried to abuse the spirit of RFRA passed under the Clinton administration, which was a bipartisan effort, by the way, with Republicans and Democrats. And that one business that attempted to do it set the stage for nobody else trying to abuse it in the future. And so the states basically said, because we have these cases coming up, like with Masterpiece Cake Shop, we've got to protect business owners in our state who might have a legitimate religious opt-out for certain events as society continues to change and evolve and the laws continue to change and evolve. The other argument for that is that if you go into business and you do something, you have to do it for everybody. But that's not the case. And we've seen this highlighted time and time again as people will contact Muslim bakery owners and ask them to make things for Jewish celebrations, and they won't do it. We've also seen people contact Muslim businesses and ask them to cater gay weddings and things like that. They won't do it. And nobody gets mad. Nobody gets outraged. This appears to be solely focused on Christian companies by advocates. Of course, we all know what happened with Memories Pizza here. Memories Pizza was falsely accused of denying service to gays after the whole RFRA thing. That was a complete lie. That never happened. It was a fabrication. And as a result, the death threats, there was a teacher, for crying out loud, that was arrested, lost their job as a result of threatening to burn the building down with people inside of it. It was nuts. And it was all based on a farcical lie. That's the sad part. Because there's legitimate debate and concern about, if you open a business, is this the common domain? Should you have to serve everybody? If you have to serve everybody, does it just include those protected classes, or can it be expanded to the entire population? That sort of thing. There's a legitimate discussion there and even some legitimate concerns. But when it wasn't accurately portrayed in the public, the opportunity to have that honest discussion and debate about it never happened. And so Masterpiece Cake Shop, once again, won the second case. They're 2-0 now as a result of all of this. But if Colorado, if they were wise, they would stay away from this cake shop going forward, because people immediately ambushed them the day after the original ruling, and you know that they're going to try and do it again. All right, we got more coming up. MNC News Time is 4:31. Time to check out Masters Heating and Air Conditioning online at mastersheatcool.com. Masters gets there faster.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. MNC.
Michiana's news channel on 95.3 FM, the 95.3 MNC app, and online at 953mnc.com. I'm Tommy Lee in the MNC News Center, and among our top stories this afternoon, a major construction project will begin this month that will completely transform the intersection of US 20 and State Road 2 in LaPorte County. Construction crews will begin to build the Dogbone interchange on Monday, March 18th.
He said dog bone a little too quickly. John. Sounded like dog porn. All right, so we gotta listen to this newscast because maybe he says something that ticked that person off.
New Carlisle, while east-west traffic from Michigan City to South Bend will be down to one lane in each direction. The project's expected to wrap up in mid-November.
It's usually the same news report.
And Congressman Fred Upton speaking out against the For the People Act in the House of Representatives.
Upton spoke out against the bill, which was first proposed in the House this year in a floor speech Wednesday. The For the People Act aims to expand Americans' access to the ballot box, reduce the influence of big money in politics, and strengthen ethics rules for public servants, according to its current text. The voting process would also be streamlined, and campaign funding would be made more transparent. The legislation would also take the power to draw congressional districts away from state legislatures, assigning that task instead to independent commissions. The House is expected to vote on the bill Friday, and if it passes, it's not expected to pass in the Senate.
That's 95.3 MNC's Darren Wright.
I don't know what they were upset about.
Guess we could always ask Joanne.
I'm over it. I was just curious. Y'all see that Michael Cohen is suing Trump Organization over unpaid legal bills? In other news, if you violate attorney-client privilege, you may not get your legal fees paid. Just a sidebar. I mean,
served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 25 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people. Visit Prime Table today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialist, first warning forecast.
Dry and cloudy with temperatures falling to 24 degrees overnight. And by Friday morning, we could have a chance for some light snow showers between 5 and 9 a.m. Less than half an inch accumulation is possible. And the rest of the day will be partly to mostly cloudy with a high of 40 degrees. In the APC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Eric Morbitin.
News protected by CX Gov.
Well, and did you guys see that Lanny Davis came out today and confirmed that Cohen did in fact perjure himself again in his second testimony? Like Don Jr. said, Cohen is learning that Lanny Davis was working for the Clintons the entire time and was not actually his attorney. Oh, 3:15, huh? That's when they're going to do it?
What?
Founders is going to release KBS on the 15th. But they're saying it's going to be widely available instead of limited.
We'll see.
We will see. Casey, why can't Cohen be sued for breaking that? He can. He can be. They're just waiting for all of this stuff to get done. He absolutely violated attorney-client privilege. There's no doubt about that. And the fact that he has perjured himself multiple times and has a conviction for doing so isn't going to help him in the future. If he were wise, he would not be going to court. He would be staying as far away from the Trumps as he possibly could. I have not tried Apex Legends yet. No. No, I have not. I've been very interested, though. I just have not had the time. I think I've been able to play Fallout 4 times. So I was able to actually get some Fallout time in. It's like once or twice a week I'm able to do it. I did see that that Ninja won the first tournament, though, Ninja's team. So he flipped over to Apex real quick. He was really frustrated with stream sniping in Fortnite.
30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.5%, APR 4.78%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN.
Yeah, I've seen some clips. I just haven't actually been able to sit down and play. So I played Madden for a little bit just to kind of chill out and unwind for a couple of days, but now I can't even get into the EA servers, which apparently is a known glitch. You just eventually they let you back in and you can play again. This is the problem with these games. You should not be required to have internet access to play these games. It's friggin' stupid. If I'm going to pay that money for a video game, let me play it offline. I don't have to have all the features, but you need to let me at least play it offline. There's people out there that, you know, they're in the rural areas and they don't have fast enough internet to be able to do this stuff. It's stupid to require that. Battlefield, for me, is a better game than Call of Duty, but Battlefield never has the ability for you to play offline. You have to be online. Call of Duty, you can play offline. And sometimes I just want to veg out and have a normal little game, and I don't really want to be dealing with, you know, 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds and crap like that. I don't want to be super competitive. I just want to play with the maps, learn some maps, stuff like that. But you can't do that on Battlefield. You will sink or swim in Battlefield. Tuning in, News Talk 95 95.3 Michiana's News Channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Hey, Tactical Training Systems is holding a basic pistol class on Sunday, March 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. If you are a new gun owner or if you are looking to purchase a firearm for the first time, you need a good, solid foundation to be safe and to be accurate and to use your firearm in the way that it is meant to be used in a proper environment with good training. Contact Paul over at Second Amendment Arms and Range to reserve your spot March 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. It's $125 each student. That is probably the best $125 a new shooter will ever spend, okay? Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information and sign up for that class. Okay. All right, I'm going to talk about this. This has been... I've never been like a huge abortion topic guy. Okay, but there are things in the legal system that irk me because they're inconsistent and they're unrealistic and unscientific. So those are things that kind of bother me a little bit. One of those things is men are expected to be equally responsible for their offspring as women, while men have absolutely no say in whether the offspring is born. That is something that is irritating. So here's the position that I've always kind of had. Is that if you are going to say that women have all of the say, fine. Men have none of the responsibility. Now, what ends up happening when I say that is you get somebody who heard a fraction of that, heard it with one ear, and gets really angry at me and says, men need to take responsibility for what they do. I believe that they should. My whole point is, if the law is going to say that a man has absolutely no say in whether or not their child is born, then you cannot force him to have responsibility for that child for the rest of their life. It's one or the other. Either they have responsibility or they don't. If they have responsibility, then I believe that a dad should be able to force the child to be birthed. Okay? If they're equally responsible for the upbringing of the child, they're equally responsible for the creation of the child, then the father should have equal responsibility and say in whether or not that child gets born. Okay? Now, if the mom wants to keep the child and the dad doesn't, I don't believe that the dad should be able to say that the child gets aborted. Okay, I'm not saying that. But you cannot have it both ways. Now, we do. It's inconsistent. It legally makes absolutely no sense. It certainly is hypocritical. There's no logical context to it whatsoever. Either the father is responsible or they're not. And we have to pick one. So when I saw this case in Huntsville, Alabama, I immediately jumped up and said, yes, this is amazing. Now, for the record, if you are the father and she wants to abort, but you want to keep the kid, I believe that you should be able to force her to go through with the birth, that she has to have good faith that she is going to allow that child to be delivered. And then you get to take custody of that child and she doesn't have any responsibility for it. Okay. At that point, it's your child. She signs over her rights. You don't get child support from her. She doesn't get visitations or anything of that nature. If you guys want to renegotiate that down in the future, you can. But if she wants to abort because she's not ready to be a mom and you want to take care of that child, then you should have sole custody of that child. And she should not have the obligation of being tied to the child for the rest of her life, if that's what she wants. So there are ways of doing this that are amicable and fair, all right? So a Madison County man is suing Alabama Women's Center for Reproductive Alternatives, LLC, for providing an abortion to a woman who he says was pregnant with his baby. Brent Helms, the attorney for both Ryan Magers, who claims to be the father, and Baby Roe, the unborn fetus, said Magers did not want the woman to have an abortion. Helms said that Magers was seeking legal counsel at the time of the abortion, and Helms also petitioned to represent the estate of Baby Roe. Helms says the estate, the fetus, has the right to sue under probate law in Alabama. This is interesting. So basically, and by the way, the woman was 6 weeks pregnant, okay? So they're assigning personhood to a 6-week fetus. Probate judge Frank Barger signed off on the letter of petitioning, allowing the reported father to represent Baby Roe's estate. Helms said that Barger's decision marks the first time in the U.S. that an aborted fetus is recognized to have legal rights. but it's not clear if the judge knew what he was granting. In the letter of petition filed on January 25th of 2019, Baby Roe is not specifically referred to as a fetus. News 19 reached out to Barger and asked if he knew that he was signing off on rights for an unborn fetus, but he refused to comment. Now, according to the letter of petition, which asked for rights to the fetus's estate, the petition says Baby Roe died on February 12, 2017. It does not refer to the cause of death or the location. So they left out that this was a 6-week-old fetus who was aborted. They left that out. And so some people are crying foul that they misled the judge into thinking that this was a child that had been born, was not aborted, and was subsequently killed. So the petition acknowledges the fetus did not leave behind a will, spouse, or real property who under the law could have claims on the estate. The lawsuit also claims the fetus was aborted on February 12th of 2017 at the Huntsville Abortion Clinic. Court documents said at the time of the abortion that the fetus was 6 weeks old and the mother took a pill that ended the pregnancy. Now, according to court documents, Mager's girlfriend found out that she was pregnant in 2017, and Mager said that he wanted to keep the baby, but the mother wanted an abortion. The records allege the mother made an appointment with the clinic in between the time that Magers found out about the pregnancy and the appointment. Magers said that he pleaded with the woman to not terminate the pregnancy. And so he's seeking a jury trial on this. This is an interesting case because if nothing else, we might have a case, which obviously would go to the Supreme Court, I think, either way, where we could finally have a case that addresses the paternal rights of the dad. And so if the dad wants to keep the child, then the child maybe should be born. And if the child isn't born, then maybe, or if we don't want to say that the father has any rights here, then maybe the father shouldn't have any obligations when the child is born either. Now, of course, a good father would, but I'm just saying, in general, legally, you've got to have some kind of consistency there. You can't say that they're half responsible for the human life without giving them any kind of say in whether or not the human life actually comes to fruition. So this is an interesting case. Keep an eye on this one. We'll see what happens, but I assume that this could be a case that goes to the Supreme Court. If nothing else, could establish some barriers or boundaries on where the father's rights lie in a case like this, because there's a lot of these out there. Millions of them every single year of fathers losing their kids. It's actually a #1 cause of suicide in men. For a lot of people didn't know that. A lot of men kill themselves because of access to their children. Sometimes that they include the abortion statistic in there. All right, we got more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3.
Tonight will be cloudy with temperatures dropping to 24 degrees and some light snow showers will move into Michiana on Friday morning after 7 a.m. through around 9 a.m. Less than half an inch of accumulation is forecast. The rest of Friday will be dry with partly to mostly cloudy skies and a seasonal high of 40 degrees. We keep warming up for Saturday with a high of 48. Showers will move in during the afternoon. They could be heavy at times as we go through the evening and eventually turn to some light snow by Sunday morning. The weekend is going to be very breezy with wind gusts of 40 miles per hour. And Sunday, we'll have a high of 39 degrees. On Monday, we'll make it to 38 with mostly to partly sunny skies. And we'll be back into the 40s by next Tuesday with a high of 42. In the ABC 57, first one in here in the Centric, I'm meteorologist Erica Morgan.
95.3 MNC is your official school delays and closings radio station with updates at least every 15 minutes on air on those brutal winter mornings. Plus, the list is updated instantly online at 953mnc.com. Powered by First Response Disaster Restoration Specialists. When winter weather hits, turn to us and stay connected. Weather, traffic, school delays, and closings. From News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
Hello, I'm Les Anderson, owner of Signs of the Times. We're a full-service sign company. We've been in business now going on 14 years. We have 2 stores located in Elkhart. A lot of the services we offer, the vehicle wraps have just taken off in the last
That's their job, no matter how big or small, is important to us. From wraps to signs, apparel and fleets, display your brand with Signs of the Times mail card. Visit signsofthetimesmailcard.com.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Miller with Good Faith Management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast and or very fast, call me at 621-3277. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location. I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month and I want to buy more. Call me at 574-621-3277. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind and payment houses. I even buy my tenant will pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-621-3277 for a cash offer today. That's 574-621-3277.
It would be great to see your windows in a whole new light. Do it right. Call your local neighborhood budget lines. You'll get beautiful style and personalized service for every budget. We bring the showroom right to your home, so you can choose from hundreds of blinds, shades, shutters, and drapes, plus smart home window coverings you control with the touch of a button. And with budget blinds, we do it all for you. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
We'll see. Oh boy. Wow.
Now that's beautiful. At participating independently owned and operated franchises only. Ask for details.
We keep you updated all night long with the Lars Larson Show. Tune in weeknights 9 till midnight on Sub 95.3 Michiana's. Your breaking news and weather station.
Of course, the Paul Manafort sentencing is underway. He's in court after being found guilty last year of 8 felony counts. So they're going through the sentencing phase of it right now. Of course, we'll update you on any developments in that particular case. Do you want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. I did get a text message about the last topic. It says, Casey, to play devil's advocate, what is your opinion on some of these women who don't know who the father is? This is a good question because it does happen more than we would like to admit. And although some of it is just Maury Povich paying actors to do things, but it does happen. If you have a situation where the father is unknown, then they don't have any parental rights at that point. They don't have any say. If somebody believes that that is their child, they can order a test. And so you can still do the test even early in the pregnancy. So, you know, if you don't know who the father is, then that person can't stop her from doing it. So what I'm saying is if there is a pregnant woman, the father learns that there is an effort by the woman to get an abortion, and the father is opposed to that, then they've got to go through legal channels in order to prevent that from happening. If they don't, then they don't. But, you know, this is unfortunately something that we allow to exist in our society that is inconsistent with what we say with the law. It's inconsistent with really everything about the debate. Like I said, either they are equally responsible for the life of that being, or they're not, and we have to decide which one of those it's going to be. And once we settle on that, I think we'll have a lot of the questions and a lot of the conflicts that arise because of that, that'll go away, and we'll be able to focus on other things within that debate. But it's a good question. All right, 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. There is a community of residents that is outraged, everybody. They're outraged over offensive water bottle packaging. Have you seen this, or are you just laughing? Have you seen it? Okay. Ounce Water, founded by Sons of Anarchy star Theo Rossi and his wife Megan McDermott in 2015, has prompted backlash from a Brooklyn, New York community over its packaging. Brooklyn residents, along with Brooklyn Rise, an activist, Brooklyn Rise is an activist group that serves at-risk youth and their families, took issue with the 40-ounce water package, which is designed to look like a bottle of malt liquor. But it's water. The group feels the shape of the bottle perpetuates negative stereotypes about black communities. Wait a minute, we had some pasty white people drinking some 40-ounce natural ice here on the live stream earlier this week. I enjoyed 40s when I was younger, in my younger days, before I had some class. I enjoyed some 40s, but go figure. So they feel that it perpetuates a negative stereotype about black communities as well as the potential to promote alcoholism among children. Okay, so if you are going to buy a water bottle that looks like a 40-ounce beer, you're going to become an alcoholic. And if you buy a water bottle that looks like a 40-ounce beer, that's racism or something. That history is of high alcohol content, cheap liquors that were sold and heavily promoted through rap music and all kinds of marketing and entertainment. Community members Christine Gilliam told Yahoo Lifestyle, it is a big part of the demise of a community that already feels that it is under attack, so that in turn leads to alcoholism. We know that children emulate adults and what they see to be cool. So you have them going to the store, which just happens to be next to a liquor store where you might see people hanging out drinking 40s. So you want to emulate that, and you can do it with a 40-ounce water bottle. Great. They're getting nourished as far as the water, but their behavior is emulating that of these people that are consuming alcohol, and it's like a precursor, unquote. Candy cigarettes didn't make me smoke cigarettes. Chocolate cigars don't make me smoke cigars, although cigars are the nectar of the gods. This is not causation, folks. This is not how any of this works. The cocaine energy supplement that was powder does not make people actually do cocaine. All right. Ounce Water did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment, but according to the website, the bottle was designed to help people consume 80 ounces of water per day by creating labeled water bottles. They're totally lying. It looks like a 40-ounce beer bottle, but it's water. By the way, it's extremely clever, okay? This is a very clever marketing gimmick, no doubt about it. But we only, hey, we have a 20-ounce, we got a 40-ounce bottles, and we just make the math very simple. That's true, but you don't have to make it look like a 40-ounce beer. So putting the number on the bottle is cool and all, but it looks like a beer bottle. The design of our bottle is an old school nod, to beer. It is meant to take something that once was part of poisoning people, malt liquor, and instead fill your bottle with health and life. We are taking a negative and turning it into a positive, and we don't market the shape of our bottles, strictly market the math and the hydration benefits. Okay, so they're admitting that it looks like a beer bottle at least. So many years ago, I started using mason jars for my regular glasses in the house. Okay, I think they look cool. I think they look awesome. Eventually it caught on. I didn't realize that it caught on. It just became like a thing. I wasn't emulating anybody. I just had a couple of them, and I was like, that's pretty neat. You know what mason jars are famous for? Not canned fruit. Moonshine. So moonshine is the color of water. Can be. So am I really emulating drinking White Lightning every time I have my water out of my mason jar, or do I just think that the jar looks cool and I'm having water? Yeah, exactly. But still, pretty interesting. People are really, really upset about this. So, but it's also kind of a cool looking bottle. Now, the real question is it affordable, or are they making it super expensive like those other waters that are out there? Remember when 7-Up had that great commercial about bottled water coming from the mountain spring? They had the bear defecating in the river that the water came from. That was a great commercial. Anyway, we got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. If you don't remember the commercial, go look it up. 7-Up bear in the stream commercial. We got more coming up.
WTRC FM and HD1. Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
I love my mason jar stuff, man.
Very common in the South for iced tea, man.
Yup. So my brother-in-law visited several years ago, and we had the mason jars there, and he goes, "You're doing the mason jar thing too? I thought I was the only one." Oh. He was at like some friggin', I don't know, flea market or something. They had a bunch of the mason jars, and he's like, cool. Those are pretty neat.
We have a bunch around because my grandmother used to can all the time.
Okay.
So we just have some. It's a nice aesthetic.
They're cool looking bottles, man. I'll give them credit. It's a nice design. $40 ounce natural ice. How dare you promote racial stereotypes? Shame on you for having 40 ounce natural ice. Thumbs up, floaty floaty. I am pooped. God, tomorrow's my long day too. Damn. Nope, not Old English font. Nope, normal, modern, looks like it's a bold Arial type font. It says ounce. So it's a clear bottle, black lid, black writing. It says ounce, smaller text, water, big numbers 20 or 40 in black. So it's actually it's a pretty design. It's very clean. It's very clean.
Well, here's one on Reddit. When you're trying to be healthy but still want to live that thug life.
Yep. I would put tea in it. Because you run around, it looks like beer. So then I'd have all the cops in the community pulling me over and stopping me like, yo, it's just iced tea, fool.
You could do that with those like Arizona tea cans on a brown paper bag.
Yeah. I mean, those big sweet teas and half and halves.
Yeah.
That's the same size as the old friggin' beers that used to get. The tall boys. So,
in a brown paper bag.
Right.
Around.
You could argue that the Rockstar looks like an old English can.
A little bit. Same size.
Take care, Kelly.
Oh boy, they're talking about ovaries and stuff.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. What did I walk into?
'40s always get warm before I
Yep. Yep. You'd walk around, you have a sip here and there, and you'd be like, eh. You pour a little bit out. Pretend that you were drinking it, just so you can get through the damn thing. Remember when you used to hide the Bud Ice under your mattress so Mom didn't find out? And then you'd go pop one open, be like, yeah, I'm going to have a Bud Ice while Mom's at work. It's warm as hell and gross. You're like, damn it. Beer sucks. And then you get older, and you realize it's only certain beers that can be drank warm. And Budweiser, any product, is not one of them. Oh my God. You're pulled over for the cream soda bit? That's funny.
Oh, those, yeah.
Yeah. God, cream soda is good. I only have cream soda like once a year, but every time I do, it's like, damn, I need to have this more. This is yummy. Paul Manafort walked in that courtroom like a boss. He didn't walk in there like a guy who was going to be sentenced to anything serious. Yeah, I don't know if Mom's in the audience today. I haven't seen her. My grandma just got out of surgery a couple days ago, and I know that they're doing some follow-up appointments and stuff like that. So she might be occupied. I don't know. Orange vanilla, not really my thing, but it is my wife's thing. She likes orange cream.
I love that the default button bar when it's not running the morning news macro is something that was created by Carl in November of 2000. That's how badly we need to update some of the stuff.
Word. Tim set up a whole soundboard because we got the soundboard thing that we can set up. He set it up, and somebody came in and deleted everything. We know who that somebody was, but they came in and they deleted everything. He's like, and the person never uses it. Never uses it. He spent the whole afternoon. So regular callbacks that I do on the show, he could just hit the button. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. Do they fill the mason jars with weed? Somebody's like, mason jars are filled with weed now. Is that what they do?
I have heard that, yeah, as like a display type thing or to hold it.
All right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I would have gone with a coffee, one of those clear coffee things because they're airtight, but you know, what do I know? I'm not a pothead. So maybe there's something to let it, dry out and not stay fresh forever. I don't know. Anyway, I want to thank our sponsors, Second Amendment Arms and Range. If you mention me when you go out there, you get half off your range time. They also have the basic pistol class coming up on Sunday. I had extra consonants in there. Sunday, March 24th from 12 to 4 p.m. Contact Paul at secondamendmentarms.net to reserve your spot. I get rave reviews from listeners who take that class. They love it. So if you're a new shooter or you're looking to purchase your first firearm, that is the class you want to take. Okay, what do we have here? Utah teacher forced a student. This is even worse than me insulting Brett Baer yesterday, not realizing it was Ash Wednesday. Now, in my defense, for those of you who didn't see, because I looked up and there's Brett Baer, and it looked like he had a Superman curl in his hair because his ash was high and it was very, very dark and it touched his hairline. So it looked like he was doing the little, I'm Brett Baer Kent. And I was like, what are you, I said, what in the world are you doing to your hair? And then I was like, oh, I had because I saw some guy that was on television earlier who had something on his forehead and it looked like a dot. And I was like, that's a really big mole. And then it hit me when the Brett Baer thing happened. I was like, I'm such a jerk. Because usually Tim is, this is my first year without Tim on Ash Wednesday. And Tim, the first time Tim walked in, I was like, you got something on your, and he goes, yeah. And he didn't do anything about it. And I was like, you gonna clean that off? And he goes, it's Ash Wednesday. And I was like,
so horrible, Casey. You're such a big
I'm like, oh.
You're such a bigot, Casey.
I said, I'm not Catholic, even though I get accused of being Catholic all the time. And so I felt bad about it. So Tim was always here to remind me it was Ash Wednesdays. I'd see Tim walk in and be like, and I should have known there's punchkis everywhere.
Right.
And it just, and I remember thinking, it was like, it feels like we just had punchkis. What's going on? And yeah, so anyway, Brett Baer had this swoop on, and I felt bad about calling him out on it once I realized, and it took me 3 seconds to realize what was going on.
We realized that
it was pretty quick. And so I feel better now after reading this story about this teacher in Utah, because I feel like all of a sudden I really didn't insult Catholics. And this teacher in Utah forced a student to wash off the Ash Wednesday cross. According to the story, according to the family. Here it is. A Utah elementary school teacher apologized to one of her Catholic students on Wednesday and may still face disciplinary action after she forced him to wash off the Ash Wednesday cross on his forehead, according to the boy's family. William McLeod of the Clan McLeod, a fourth grader at Valley View Elementary School, received the ash marking made in the shape of a cross and applied by a priest. Did you see that they were doing drive-through ash crosses across the... Did you see this? I saw this article yesterday. Now, I know nothing about this tradition, okay? I know nothing about it. But I saw yesterday that there was churches all up and down the United States that were doing drive-through. So on your way into work, you could go through a drive-through, and they were doing it in your car. So it was more convenient for people. And I was like, wow, hey, that, assembly line process, I guess that works. For the Catholic religious day that signals the start of the Lenten season, and then went to school. So he goes ahead. He has a priest put the cross on his forehead. He goes to school at that point, and then he told Fox 13 that he was the only student who had ash on his forehead. Okay, so I guess he doesn't have a lot of Catholics in his class. And got to understand something. When I came here and everybody's walking around with this, I had no idea what was going on. Because where I'm from, it's not a big Catholic community. There's a lot of Mormons, there's a lot of other Christians and things like that. There's not a lot of Catholics in Las Vegas. At least not enough for you to walk around and notice it. Okay, so when I came here and everybody's got it on, I'm like, what is going on? No clue what's happening. Fat Tuesday's not a thing where I'm from. Ash Wednesday's really not a thing where I'm from. So it was one of those things that I still have to get used to even after 7 years. So a lot of students asked me what it was. I said, I'm Catholic. It's the first day of Lent. It's Ash Wednesday, he said. Williams's teacher, who was not identified, later approached him and forced him to wash off the symbol, he said. William reportedly attempted to explain why he wanted to keep the ash cross on his forehead, but he said that his teacher wouldn't listen. She took me aside and she said, you have to take it off. She gave me a disinfection wipe, whatever they are called, and she made me wipe it off. William's grandmother, Karen Fisher, told Fox 13 that she was pretty upset, I would imagine, by the incident and received a call from the school's principal and the teacher who ordered the cross to be washed off. I asked her if she read the Constitution with the First Amendment, and she said no. Interesting. Okay. Davis School District spokesman Chris Williams apologized for the incident and said an investigation is being conducted. Why that even came up, I have no idea. Williams said when a student comes in a school with ashes on his forehead, it's not something that we say, please take off. And again, I can understand her not knowing what it was, but he says that he attempted to explain it to her and she wasn't listening to him. Williams' family said that the teacher apologized with a handwritten note and candy. I hope it helps somebody and I hope it never happens again, Fisher said. I don't think it will. Was that? If they didn't give up candy for Lent, right? We are talking about a kid here, so it's entirely possible that candy, yeah. So, okay, based on that, giving the piece of candy, it's entirely possible that she has no idea what's going on, right? She still doesn't understand. She still doesn't get it. I'm assuming the teacher's a female. Oh yeah, he says she. So but again, you have to listen to the kids on this stuff. And I can understand her being confused and not exactly knowing what's going on, thinking the kids just come to school dirty, but he did try to explain it. So if it was an honest mistake on her part, I feel better having insulted Brett Baer yesterday. If it wasn't an honest mistake, then hopefully she has learned her lesson and she won't do anything like this ever again in the future. But I mean, she did apologize. She handwrote a letter, apologized. I'm sure she was forced to do it because we don't have the teacher's not being named, so the teacher's identity is being protected, and so we don't really have any context from the teacher themselves on. I just totally didn't know, and I'm so sorry. I thought he was just feeding me a line of garbage, and we don't know that. So we don't know if it was an honest mistake or not, but I'm willing to say that it probably was based on my own experiences of not having any clue what it was when I saw it the first time. And since he was the only kid in school who had it, or at least in that class, it is entirely possible that she didn't know what was going on either. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. And I also want to remind you that the 95.3 MNC weather text alerts are new and improved. They're customized and even faster than they ever were. To stay connected, text the word weather right now to 45364. Here's the best part. You can pick the counties that you care about. Everybody else, you're not going to get flooded with those notifications that go out for them. So you can only get notified about the counties that matter to you, whether it's your county where you live, where you work, where family lives, that sort of stuff. You don't have to worry about all of the other counties around. Again, minutes do matter. These alerts are extremely quick. The moment they're issued, you're going to get it on your phone. Again, text the word weather to 45364. Please remember that message and data rates do apply. We'll take your phone calls on this and more coming up on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3.
She replied no to, have you read the First Amendment? That's what the grandma says. The grandma says she said no to the First Amendment. Yeah. So.
Don't hang on. We're talking about the St. Jude radio
Oh, they're doing St. Jude. What was Tommy doing in there?
Oh. That look like anything?
There's Deb. Putting in a solid 2 days of work. Yeah, the grandma says that she said she did not read the First Amendment, so.
Well, at least they're keeping the teacher anonymous because she would get a lot of hate mail.
Yeah.
It's Utah.
I mean, obviously people are, yeah, and you get around Utah and Nevada, it's a lot of Mormons. Tons and tons and tons. Not a lot of Catholics, so. It really is a culture shock. And I know that people who are probably Catholic is probably not, you've been around it your whole life. But
Methodist group too.
See, well, and we have a lot of United Methodists out there, but I don't remember ever really
They have
seeing
Ash
that.
Wednesday Day services. I don't know how a lot of them do the whole.
Okay, because I don't remember growing up and seeing that
I've been
at
in
all.
Methodist church basically my entire life pretty well for as long as
Okay.
I can consciously remember. And it's a lot. I remember them always being Ash Wednesday services, but my parents didn't grow up that, so we didn't ever usually go to them that regularly. But they would usually have them.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I know a lot of United Methodists have services, but I have no idea if they ever do.
Yeah, growing up, because we have a lot of Mormons, we have a lot of Christians who would be Baptist, not Southern Baptist, but Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
And we have United Methodist. Trinity United Methodist is huge where Vegas is. So you have them everywhere. But yeah, I don't remember
seeing that at all. So when Tim walked in, I was like, hey, you got a little... He thought I was messing with him. You know? So like after like 10 minutes, I'm like, he's not cleaning it off. I'm like, you gonna clean that off or what? He's like, no. I was like, oh, dude, I feel like a dick. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. How many thoughts had it on? How many of them game bunnies were wearing very little on their Twitch stream with their little ash cross on their forehead? Huh?
To each their own, I guess. I was thinking more traditional game streamers, but to each their own, I guess.
Well, I mean, might as well make it fun. Normal gaming is fine, but you might as well figure out what the girls who wear very little clothing for a living.
It's a very interesting.
So I love
to do a little anthropological stuff.
Yeah, I love Dr. Pimple Popper. I've been watching her on YouTube, and I just started watching her television show. So she had this girl had this bump right here, like a little cyst or whatever. She's a stripper. And what did she? She said like two things. Like, I don't want people to. I want people to see me for my talents and not just this. And then they went to her swinging around a pole. I was like, this is so great. I was laughing so hard. And I'm sitting there, and I even looked at my wife and I said, you know I'm pro stripper, but that is funny. That is so funny. Oh my God. It was great. Whoever spliced that together was like, that's the line I needed. And twirl around. Oh man. That was good stuff.
You're not Tom Cruise.
Nope. That's the good one. Horvathan or Horvathan or whatever.
Tom outside?
She is she's cool too. She's awesome. But she is young. But she's really good at what she does. So she's young and capable and nice to look at.
This is why we do radio.
Even though you can't see her face because the TV is set up all weird.
But this is why we do radio, Casey.
Speak for yourself. I make movies.
Where you have to be overweight.
Where I have to be overweight. Yes. That's the deal.
Well,
see? That's why you do radio. Right there. That's why you do radio.
I was just talking about a stripper. Really? Did you do this on purpose?
I have no control over this. Most of the time, when I just press the button, I have no control over the music.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Sure. We were just talking about how many of those Twitch streamers, the girls that don't wear very much, how many of them might have had the ash on their head yesterday while they were streaming. And then I was telling him a funny story about Dr. Pimple Popper. And because I've been watching her since she was on YouTube, and I just started watching her actual television show. So they had a girl had a cyst on her shoulder, and she's a stripper. And so she's like, I want people to see me for my talents and not my cyst. And then the camera guy went right to her swinging around a pole. It was genius editing. It was really funny. And then all of a sudden he's got in the club. All right, 574-25-95-95-3 to the phone lines we go. Fred, welcome to the program.
Yeah, with the Ash Wednesday Ash. My son he's a freshman. We went to the 7 o'clock mass, and he went to school. And as soon as he got in with his friends, he was talking, and he said a girl came up to him and said, you got something on your forehead, and wiped it off.
Oh, no.
And just thought he had some smudge on his head that he wasn't supposed to.
Okay, is she cute?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing nefarious. It's just ignorance, don't know.
She thought she was looking out for him. She might have a crush on him. She probably spit on her thumb a little bit, rubbed it into his forehead. Yeah.
Just wiped it off before he could say anything, and she kind of said, oh, well, that's for, and she goes, oh, I don't know what that is. And,
Oh, man.
But this teacher, unless you grew up in Fallujah, I can't imagine the teacher that she never had seen anyone with an ash in her entire life?
I honestly don't know. I'm looking back. Okay, so I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm looking back because we're in the break. We were talking about the faiths that are really common where I'm from in Vegas. I honestly don't remember, and it's possible that I saw it, Fred, and I just didn't notice, or I thought it was a smudge on somebody's face, and it just, is one of those things that I just didn't realize what was going on. I really don't remember seeing it growing up. I'm sure I did. I mean, it's not like Vegas has no Catholics. They have Catholics. It's just that they're not the predominant faith there.
Sure, and I can't imagine being a tourist in Vegas and going, "Oh, I gotta go to
yeah, exactly, right."
and then start sinning right away.
Right. I mean, is this girl that wiped your son's forehead off? Does he at least have a thing for her? Is she cute?
No, they're just friends.
Oh, okay.
Freshman, he just kind of started, and she just said, "Oh, you got something on your forehead," and just wiped it off. And he went, "What? Hey, what?"
Oh man.
But I mean, it's not like he gets less blessed or anything.
I'm just saying, it seems like a pretty close relationship there, Fred, to have her just pop up and wipe his face off. It's kind of like a parent licking their thumb and wiping their kid's mouth. I don't know.
Could be.
Look, she was just looking out for him. She didn't mean anything by it, but
right. No, I'm not. Yeah, she just had no idea. But I just can't imagine, like you said, with that teacher having no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless she's like 25, just got out of college.
Could be. Yeah, I suppose it could be.
Raised.
Her response on the First Amendment is the thing that we've been talking about in the live stream, because the grandma's like, "Have you ever read the First Amendment?" And she says, "No."
No.
Like, okay. Maybe you should be a teacher. Yeah, that's interesting.
There's a non-starter right there. You just go, okay, never mind.
So how did your son react? I'm dying to know how he reacted to that happening, because I assume he was shocked.
Well, yeah, it was just so fast and out of the blue, and he just kind of went, that's over, and so we just kind of didn't really let it, you couldn't rehash it.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, I don't know how that works. I don't know if you can do that or not, but.
No, I mean, they wear off during the day anyway. You forget it's there, you rub the forehead.
Sure. Oh man!
Have you seen the meme with Nancy Pelosi with her ash?
No, people have been telling me about it. I have not seen it. I've been in meetings all day, but people have been talking about it pretty heavily.
And then her citing the abortion bill is fantastic.
I have to look it up, and I'll probably post it later tonight because people have been talking about it in the live stream all afternoon.
All right. Okay.
Well, Fred, I appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right. Take care. I'm just trying to think of all of the girls that I knew growing up who had the comfort level to walk up to me and lick their thumb and wipe my face. So who knows? Jim, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, I'm going to just be real brief about this. I grew up in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And when I went to, this is 40, 50 years ago, we went to church at night, in school and stuff. So you would not have seen it. A lot of us used to just go to an evening mass, and we'd have the ashes put on, after school.
Maybe that's why I never saw it growing up then.
So, yeah, it most likely isn't. It's probably, I'm not saying that it wasn't done earlier in the day at other at other areas, but here locally, just north, I went to Three Oaks, just across the border here, when I was in high school and middle school. And at that time, I always went to evening mass.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it's always possible that I just, didn't think anything of it when I saw it. But, if people are doing evening mass, then I probably wouldn't have seen it throughout the day. So, yeah that makes perfect sense.
Have a good day.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you much. All right. So I feel a little bit better because it's hard for me to believe that I'd be going through my whole life without noticing that. But
we just had a caller who didn't really want to talk on air a little bit. He said he's 45 and that he's always heard of Ash Wednesday, but had no idea that they would do the ash cross on the forehead.
Okay.
So that could be part of it.
Are they from here though? Because they just
called in, so I'm assuming.
Well, maybe they just moved here, but yeah, because everybody does it here. We run into it all the time. A bunch of people, half the building has it. And like I said, maybe it's possible just from a bigger place where Catholicism is not the predominant religion, but I would have assumed I would have run into it. So maybe it was just an evening mass sort of a thing. I don't know. So that makes me feel better having, rather than running around and not noticing people doing that. That's just, I don't know, seems weird considering how involved in the public I was for most of my life. But still very interesting. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. I'll take one more on this, and then we'll obviously move on. Bob, welcome to the program.
Hey, Casey, thanks for having me.
Sure.
Man, I have a 9-month-old baby, and he had a 9-month-old checkup yesterday.
Okay.
So this is a funny little story. So I take him to the doctor. His mom's sick, so I take him to the doctor, and it's my first time in the doctor's office, and I don't really know my way around without her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm navigating around, and we get back there to the checkup room, and they're doing their thing, and the nurse comes in, and she's got this ash on her forehead. Well, my son, he's 9 months old, and he gets one of the, like, he's just having a ball, he's hanging out, and he sees the ash on her forehead, and he immediately gets this, like, one of them freaked out little baby looks, you know, and he
really?
Like, little drool, a little drool starts coming out.
Okay.
He starts trying to reach up and touch the ash and stuff. We were cracking up, man. It was
That's
hilarious.
funny. So he just kind of zeroed in on that, huh?
He did, because
Interesting.
the nurses, they're right there in the baby's face, checking them out and everything. So he noticed it almost immediately, man, and we were
Interesting.
cracking up. He was rubbing on her forehead and everything. It was hilarious.
That is really interesting. That's funny. All right. Well, I hope he's okay.
I just figured I'd share it with you, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. Take care. Yeah. So I'm going to operate on the premise that this teacher did not know what it was. Okay. Based on him being the only one in the class that had it. But she still should have listened to him when he was trying to explain it, because he did say that he tried to explain it to her and she just wasn't having any of it. So, she did apologize, handwritten letter. I'm going to assume that it wasn't necessarily forced. But it was kind of funny that she offered candy too as like a peace prize, and maybe that's what he gave up for Lent. So, which kind of proves the point that maybe she didn't know what was happening. But all right, so at least it all got worked out. MNC News Time is 5:31. Time to check out Masters Heating and Air Conditioning online at mastersheatcool.com. Masters gets there faster.
Forgot to hit face.
Tracy's like, he should make a move on her. I'm like, heck yeah, man. If she's comfortable enough coming...
I had weird friends, though, to be honest. I had a couple of friends who would have been like, definitely would have done that.
Yeah, where I grew up, that was a dead ringer that she was into you. If she touched you in any way like that, somebody was mentioning the Methodists do the ash too, and we were talking about that in the live stream. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, we mentioned that one in the live stream. He might bring it up a little bit. It's like, okay, cool. Just want to make sure that you guys were aware. I was like, hey, that's fair, man.
It's one of those things, though, like if you grow up in a very heavily Catholic community, you may not think that this is possible. And so I felt like, as somebody who's gone through it, I can see how she would have not had any clue what this was at all.
I get it. I understand. Because it took me a minute to remember, and I've lived up here for most of my life.
I think there was 1 year that I was like, Tim's going to come in with this today, and I was prepared for it. Every other one, I was like, oh yeah, it's Ash Wednesday.
I didn't remember. I know my girlfriend invited me to go with her to 5 a.m. Mass. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
too
want
early.
to get up that early to go to Mass.
That is too early.
Like, okay, that's fine. I did go with her to midnight Mass on Christmas Day.
Midnight's different.
Yeah.
5 a.m. That's a 4 a.m. wake-up call.
Right. I was like, no, because I have classes and then I got work.
Word.
That's fair.
All right, take care, Al. Good having you out there, buddy. Take care, Mike. Oh, wait. No, Mike is saying goodbye to Al. So, sorry. More awkwardness.
It's okay.
We're almost through the week, man. Almost. No meat during Lent, but fish.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing, too. Schools have to start.
You can still do the carnivore diet that way. You can eat fish for the carnivore diet.
Yeah. Yes. I think that the fish thing is just predominantly a Catholic Methodist.
So, like, my church, I haven't been in like a year. My church the head pastor is from the Methodist side of things, so there's a heavy Methodist influence in the church, and we don't do that. We don't do the ash.
Is it a non-denominational church or? It is?
Yeah, but it's really heavily based in Methodist.
That's fair. And very heavy John Wesley school of thought. That's who founded Methodism.
Well, he was in the Methodist church.
And the Nazarenes are all kind of.
Yeah, like he was in the Methodist church forever. Something happened. I remember him telling the story on like why the split happened, and then he started Granger Community Church.
Okay.
And then there was friction for a while between him and Methodists, like because they were upset because he wasn't doing a Methodist thing. So I don't remember all the details, but like 2 years ago, he told the story of like what happened, how the church got founded, and everything. And yeah,
church politics
it's brutal.
Yeah, it is
brutal stuff.
It is. Oh, there they are.
They brought the weird
brought
characters
back?
Damn, man, you can't do that. You know what they're missing? 40-ounce water bottles.
Dang it,
that is what they are missing. I know y'all can't see it, but they brought back them weird caricatures on ABC 57 for the weather.
Like,
yeah. They look like stereotype caricatures.
You probably haven't seen them, but there's Concord has this graphic to where dress code stuff, and it looks like that.
Does it? It's heavily early to mid 90s graffiti type art. Like I'm pretty sure I had a skateboard on it with figures like that on it.
Ethical exemption of board.
1024th blackface. Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh jeez.
Oof. Oof,
I'm pooped.
I pooped. Joe, nice to meet you.
What's up, buddy? In Soviet Russia, poop shakes you. Did y'all see that video of that girl knocking that dude out in the convenience store that I posted yesterday? Damn. Guy was just messing with a drunk dude, and she gets out, pops him a couple of times and kicks him. He comes back at her, and she drops him. And then she just goes back to ringing people up. I posted, it was like, if you're single, you need to make a play for this lady. Because damn. Take care, Rhonda. Yeah, man, she kicked the tar out of that
You got
dude.
any text messages saying you should be talking about real news?
No, everything's getting buried in a contest right now, so probably. Don't care.
Spent an entire hour on that on the voting thing. Call that real news, though, viewers?
That's low-hanging fruit for 3 o'clock hours, what that was. That's going to be a good podcast. I haven't done a lot of call-heavy topics past couple months, so it's nice to get it in.
I haven't had to work that hard.
Yeah. There's always somebody out there like, you never take calls. And I'm like, I really don't get a lot of calls. So
Like, no, No, I sit here and you pick up the calls.
When I ask for calls, people call, but there has to
never
be a
take calls
reason.
on what I want to talk about because you're never calling about what we're talking
Right.
about.
Yeah. This isn't one of those national shows where you just get to call about anything.
We do that on Friday.
Word. Priorities, people. Priorities. Dale. Yeah, Dale. Dude, she didn't even hesitate. She saw it and she just, oh, okay, I'm just going to walk around and bah, 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 bah. It was awesome.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. I do want to remind you that if you mention me when you go out to Second Amendment Arms and Range, you get half off your range time. You also get 10% off in the store, and you get listener-exclusive discounts on firearms. Here's something else. If you are going to buy, a handgun at Second Amendment Arms and Range, since you get a listener-only discount for buying them out there anyway, why don't you take the basic pistol class while you're there and spend the $125 and learn how to properly handle it in a safe and effective way? And that class is registering for March 24th. It's going to be from 12 to 4 p.m. Really good instruction. I have had rave reviews from that class from other listeners. Again, go to secondamendmentarms.net for more info. All right. Earlier today, in fact, the whole 3 o'clock hour ended up being about H.R. 1. Now, this is the Democrats' omnibus bill. It is dubbed For the People Act of 2019 because the Massachusetts representative introduced a amendment to it that would lower the voting age to 16 for federal elections. So the entire 3 o'clock hour, Joe got serious finger fatigue from answering the phones, and you all blew up about 16-year-olds being able to vote in elections. But there's far more to H.R. 1 than just that. That was just the one component that I was talking about. So on Friday, the historically leftist and often quirky, that's a good way to actually frame the ACLU. Josh Hammer is writing this. They are quirky because sometimes they'll come out of their shell and they'll actually do the right thing. But for the most part, they're just aligned with the political left. The American Civil Liberties Union surprised many when it came out in opposition to H.R. 1, dubbed the For the People Act of 2019. As the name signifies, H.R. 1 is the bill label often given to a new House leadership's most symbolic or highly pressing legislative priority. In January, NPR described For the People Act of 2019 as a 571-page compendium of existing problems and proposed solutions in 4 political hot zones: voting, political money, redistricting, and ethics. Among other things, H.R. 1 provides for automatic voter registration, which of course should not happen. Makes Election Day a national holiday. I do support that. Restores many felons' voting rights. Depends. I'd have to look closer into that. Cuts back further on states' ability to control their own voter rolls. Don't like that. Revives the previously gutted coverage formula of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Yeah, nope. That's a no from me, dog. Mandates the disclosure of donors to politically active 501c4 organizations. I don't agree with that. Mandates that presidential inaugural committees disclose expenditures in addition to donors. That could be problematic. And mandates that presidents and vice presidents must release their tax returns. I don't really care if they release their tax returns. Okay, I don't. Traditionally, they do. I don't care if they do. Frankly, that's their business. It's none of my business. If they're not facing criminal charges for their taxes, I don't care. That's purely a political thing, right? So anyway, some institutional free speech advocates have opposed H.R. 1 since its incipience. This is obviously a pretty radical expansion of the regulation of political speech. It is, said David Keating in January, president of the Conservative Institute of Free Speech. The ACLU now publicly similarly opposes H.R. 1, which is due for a vote on the House floor later this week. Here is an excerpt of the ACLU's Friday letter to House Rules Committee Chairman Representative Jim McGovern, Democrat of Massachusetts, and Ranking Member Representative Tom Cole, Republican of Oklahoma. The American Civil Liberties Union, on behalf of its 3 million members, supporters, and activists, opposes H.R. 1, the For the People Act of 2019, as it was reported out of the House Administration Committee. We strongly urge the Rules Committee to allow floor amendments that would mitigate our concerns with the provisions that unconstitutionally infringe the freedoms of speech and association. There are provisions that unconstitutionally impinge on the free speech rights of American citizens. This is true. And public interest organizations. They will have the effect of harming our public discourse by silencing necessary voices that would otherwise speak out about the public issues of the day. That is actually a pretty good summary of H.R. 1 from the ACLU. So kudos to them. They share some of my concerns with it. While there are many aspects of H.R. 1 that we strongly support, the provisions outlined above must be changed to avoid unconstitutionally burdening political speech. Although H.R. 1 is due for a House floor vote later this week, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, has said that he will not even bring the measure for a full vote in the senior legislative chamber. That means the U.S. Senate, for you 16-year-olds who are getting ready to vote. Conservatives have not been reluctant to glom onto the ACLU's opposition as a means of arguing for H.R. 1's heavy-handed extremist mandates. I mean, look, there's a lot in there. You know, there's a lot of people who believe that you should not be allowed to engage in political speech unless everybody knows who you are. And that's wrong. Okay, you have a right. You have a right to support organizations. You have a right to support candidates. You have a right to support people free from directly supporting the candidate, which of course has to be disclosed. But if you want to give money to an organization, you know, you should have some privacy with that. We see what happens to people who donate money and it's discovered who they are and where they donated it. You know, those people are harassed. Sometimes they're harassed at work. Sometimes they're harassed at home. Sometimes they're harassed at restaurants. It's, you know, if you want to be able to engage in the process, you shouldn't automatically have that displayed to everybody. There's a reason that when you go and you vote, it's private. That should be the same thing if you're going to support certain organizations. That's just one small little tidbit of that thing. So the ACLU is kind of in agreement with me there. But there's some other things that you should know about H.R. 1 as well, not just the lowering the voting age to 16. That was an amendment that was introduced. We talked about that again in the 3 o'clock hour. That will be its own podcast, and it was a lot of fun. I was in a bit of a mood in the 3 o'clock hour, so I might come off as weird in the 3 o'clock hour. Like, yeah, definitely weird. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Wondering about the weekend? It's always in sight with the 5-day forecast at 16 and 46.
Core horn coming out of the
Core horn. It's a horn of core. Yo, we're not going to be broadcasting at the Prime Table for St. Paddy's Day anymore. They ultimately decided that there's just too many dang people there. So we won't actually be out there on location. Yeah, but I can also understand why, because we pack that place. Like it gets. If you ever see what the Prime Table looks like when we broadcast out there, it's chaos. It is lines. If you've never been there, they have lines that come in, and then they funnel through one door. So there's like an exterior walkway that has doors on both sides, and they funnel through one door. Yeah, the line goes around the building on both, and it comes in, and it's just packed. It's just packed. So I can understand when they got the corned beef and cabbage out there that they go, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do it. So I can appreciate it. Damn, she is still talking about the weather? How long has she been talking about the weather? Feels like an hour.
I think we just keep coming back when they go to it.
Well, you need to stop talking about the weather.
Weather's important, Casey.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Prove it.
It's so important that you need to know when you want to ride your bike. That's when.
Well, yeah, but every time she talks about the weather, it gets colder, so she needs to shut up.
She's talking about how it's getting warmer right now.
Well, it was supposed to be warm today.
It is warm today.
Well, there's ice on the ground.
It's not warm, but it's
supposed to be 40 degrees.
It looks like 40 degrees today. I think.
Bull. It's 19 degrees out there with flurries, man.
Right now.
Wasn't no 40 degrees earlier today. I want melted snow and dry ground. That's what I want.
It's 28. Where are you getting 19 from? It's 32 according to the one out.
Well, I don't know. Is
one
it,
on location.
Is it still located from my house?
Probably.
Oh, it's on Granger.
Our station one says it's 30.
Mishawaka is 30 degrees. I just had to refresh the location.
Feels like it's 40 right now.
Pixie Dust Rangers got it all like super cold. Study says don't ask how are you.
I'm gonna still do it because
I don't even want to say anything, but they tell me that I have to say something, so that's just like the easiest thing to say.
Hi. Yeah. Hi. How are you? How you doing? Doing good. Good.
Mike chased everybody away in the live stream. Damn, dude. Everybody's gone. Way to go, Mike. You should probably get this deodorant at the dollar store that I use. It works real well, actually. It's the Dial Roll-On. It's $1.
Yeah, so it's like a dollar store.
It's $1, but it works. Actually works. I have more success with dollar store deodorant than regular store deodorant.
Remember to do core horn me at 58.
Tell me what to do. Core horn.
Well, you're going to do core horn if you want to get paid.
Maybe.
Well, fine. You can get yelled at.
That's going to happen anyway.
That guy, by the way, is that who you were talking about? Yeah.
I remember when they asked me to do the celebrity dancing show that we do here. I was like, nope. Had all sorts of pressure from management in this company. Like, you need to do it. Nope.
No, I don't dance, dude. No. Celebrity dancing contest? Not going to happen. They keep trying to get me to do it. Nope. Not going to happen. Look how foolish he just looked on television singing the stupid Bye 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 song. You know, Mark McGill's on the ABC 57 that they're singing show, and they've got all these like local media people singing really horribly in there. No, thank you. Like I said, I have 2 more years before my daughter thinks that I'm not amazing. Right? I'm gonna use all 2 years. If she sees that, yeah, it's done. It's over with. I don't even think my 2-year-old will ever even transition into the stage of me being awesome. Not gonna happen. I got to tell you about Core Financial Group because they are awesome. And, it's funny because I was reading a survey here recently, and it showed that the overwhelming majority of Americans don't know diddly squat about taxes. Okay. Now, that's not a knock on you because we're all in the same boat. They've made the tax code so complicated. Remember when we passed tax reform and it was supposed to be easier, and then they made it more complicated? Because it's Congress, right? So there's a lot of changes that we have to get used to that we've never seen before, totally new tax code, and you need a professional to help guide you through that. That's where Core Financial Group really comes in. So if you're looking for a professional to do your taxes, that's where you go. While you are there, having Core Financial Group go over your taxes, start asking them about financial planning, okay? Have them help you plan your retirement, your vacations, your major purchases, funding your kids' college education. All of these things that are extremely important with your whole financial picture, Core Financial Group can do that. And everybody who is going to work on that team on you and your goals, they're all in the same building. So they can all communicate with each other. They all have access to your file. Everybody knows what everybody is doing at any given moment. There's no communication errors. There's no trying to link up this company with that company and this company. You don't have to worry about that. It's all under one roof. And they're really good at what they do. Go to corehorn.com and make an appointment today. That's KORHORN, corehorn.com. Make sure you let them know that I sent you. Okay, what do we got here? 15 things that conservatives say Democrats' election bill would do. Okay. 15 things, and we may not get through all of them. 1, it will seize the authority of states. That is true. It'll make it easier to commit voter fraud and promote chaos at the polls through same-day registration. Agreed. For those of you who don't know, we talked about this because Michigan passed this garbage too here this last election. We went over this. The states that passed same-day registration had a higher number of voter fraud cases than states who do not have same-day registration. Minnesota was a textbook example of that. They passed it, and Minnesota's voter fraud numbers went through the roof, even though people tell you the voter fraud doesn't exist. Number 3, they say it'll hurt voter turnout through early voting by diffusing the intensity of the get-out-the-vote efforts. Plus, early voting is also a source of fraud. It'll degrade the accuracy of registration lists by automatically registering individuals from state databases, such as the DMV. It'll constitute a recipe for massive voter registration fraud by hackers and cyber criminals, although they will dispute that. It'll require states to count ballots cast by voters outside of their assigned precincts. That is true. It'll prevent election officials from checking the eligibility and qualifications of voters and removing ineligible voters. That is also true. That is one of the biggest issues, is that it takes away that control from the states and puts it at the federal level. So a state can't go through their voter rolls and say, hey, we've got these people not voted in 30 years. They've not responded to 10 letters that we've sent to them. Nobody's picking up the phone when we call. In fact, it says it's out of service. Maybe we take them off the voter rolls. Okay. It'll cripple the effectiveness of state voter ID laws. True. It'll violate the First Amendment and perhaps cover a vast range of legal activity. This is also true. There's going to be a lot of court cases associated with H.R. 1 if it passes. And again, the Senate says it's not going to. We're just, feeding you the information. Number 10, it'll expand government regulation and censorship of election campaigns and political activity and speech. This is the thing that I had the biggest concern with, and so did the ACLU. Number 11, it'll reduce the number of Federal Election Commission members from 6 to 5, allowing the political party with 3 commission seats to control the commission and engage in partisan enforcement activities. I thought the whole point of getting rid of gerrymandering and redistricting was to take away the party that wins the election from having control over aspects of elections. I thought that was the whole point of all of this movement. And that's supposed to be part of what they're doing with this bill. And yet they reduce the FEC commission to allow the party in power to control elections. Not okay. Number 12, it would prohibit state election officials from participating in federal elections and impose numerous other ethics rules that are unconstitutional. Number 13, it'll require states to restore the ability of felons to vote the moment that they are out of prison. And again, I think that kind of depends on the issue. I have to look at that portion of the bill a little bit more. Number 14, transfer the power to draw congressional districts from state legislatures to independent commissions whose members are unaccountable to voters. This has been my biggest thing about trying to explain to all of you what redistricting really is. Redistricting and gerrymandering actually improves competition in districts because a party has no incentive to make a district heavy in their favor. The idea is to lower their heavy weight in their favor in order to expand out into another district where they don't win and make that district more competitive. And that allows the other party to further encroach upon this district because now instead of having one that's 50%, one or 80% one party, it's now 50% one party. So and again, elections have consequences. Okay. If you vote for people, you have to hold them accountable for how they interact with redistricting. That's imperative. Number 15, it violates the separation of powers and directly interferes with the president's constitutional duties. H.R. 1 bans the president's political appointees, such as the attorney general, from participating in, directing the defense of, or assisting in any matter, including lawsuits and the like, in which the president is named as a party. Gee, I wonder why they tossed that one in there. Yeah. So the president has congressional or constitutional authority to do some of these things, and they're trying to strip that out. So, yeah, H.R. 1 is a giant constitutional mess. The ACLU agrees, and there's a bipartisan chorus of people out there saying H.R. 1 is a bad, bad bill, and the Democrats should probably abandon it. But it looks like it's not going to get a vote in the Senate anyway. All right, folks. Excuse me, I almost choked to death. Sean Hannity's coming up next. Almost made it throughout the show. Sean Hannity's coming up next, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Be safe out there getting home.
Hi, I'm Dwayne.
Oi. Whew. All right, everybody. Spizzle, dizzle, rizzle. Fizzle, shizzle. Swizzle. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. Uh-huh. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, the capsule's getting ready to come down tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, it is.
SpaceX. All right, everybody, you take care. What? I'll get back to your CNC. All right, buddy, you take care. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.